I think we're live. It says we are live. Hello, hello. Is anyone out there in the ethos watching this live stream? If there is, I will be impressed. I think it means I've set it up correctly. Let's see. I think I can move that around well. That's looking good. I think we're live on YouTube as well. Interesting. Can anyone hear me? Is there anyone out there watching? FOMO's in the chat. Okay. Lucas, what's up? That is Narcho. What's good? Rattling Duck. Okay, I see you guys. Calanzo. 4-star Hotel. Romer. Pugba. Okay, hey guys, what's going on? Lots of people here. Guys, this is just a test stream. This is going crazy. I thought there'd be like 2 people here waiting to check it out. But what do you guys think? Does the audio sound all right? That's mainly why we are doing a test run today. Hello from NYC. What's good, man? Hello from British Columbia, Canada. Hello, 6:15 a.m. in France. That's awesome, man. Which part of France? Greetings from Switzerland. Cool, cool. NYC, we saw that. Sounds good. Perfect. But if you guys are being like really picky, right? Like, is there anything we can alter here? Again, we're trying to go as professional as possible, which I'm not sure if anyone can actually see this if I raise it up. We have a Blue Yeti, which is like a fairly cheap USB mic, but it is a condenser. Like way back last year, Alberta here. Awesome. Which part of Alberta? I went to school in Edmonton, so I spent a little time there. That was interesting. Let's see the sealed in the background. I mean, I can move to the side. I don't think it's that impressive at all. You know, we have a lot of like just sealed booster box cases, a couple One Piece things on top, and then you guys can see, I'm sure, like way over here, we got the stack of booster box cases. So nothing really that crazy, I don't think. Sounds good, sounds good. Okay, I mean that's great. Like that was the big concern for me, was just making sure that the audio was decent. If I got that down, amazing. Like I can figure out lighting and stuff, and make it better in the future. Vancouver, what's up, man? Guess it's like 9:20 there right now. Hey, still fairly early. Some people are getting up crazy early, 6 a.m. Whew. Sounds great. Yeah, your voice is too deep for an SM. Yeah, like it was terrible. I even worked with someone who watched the Pokemon channel and they were an audio guy, and even after like EQ, it was bad, but I don't know. Well, we might update and try and get a better condenser if this is something I take seriously doing the streaming. Wait, you can invest in both One Piece. Yeah, I know. It's a very rare thing to invest in One Piece and Pokemon. It's I don't know. Well, we'll see in the future. I think more people are gonna jump over. It seems that there's still a lot of people that aren't really sold on One Piece, which is unfortunate. Audio glitchy for me now. That's not good. It might be my internet too. I'm not wired currently, so like when I do this seriously, I'll probably get a wired connection, but that could be why. I'm curious if anyone else is having issues with that as well. I invest in both. I mean, that's great. Just wait till you pick up Lorcana. I don't think we're gonna be picking up any Lorcana. I'll be honest. That's something I'm not really too interested in. I just feel like the Disney IP, I don't know, not really that strong in my opinion. I mean, it's a strong IP, but when you compare it to some of the other TCGs, I feel like there's just more carryover in other games between like the target audience. Lorcana. I mean, Riftbound. Riftbound's actually interesting. I mean, I haven't really paid attention to Riftbound, so I don't really know what's going on there. Like they've got what one set out so far. It was super underprinted. They put out an announcement they were gonna print more. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think it's interesting, right? When you look at League and you look at the type of person who plays League, I think there would be a decent amount of overlap between those types of people and also people who would collect cards. So I think there's potential there. It's interesting. It's something I'm going to keep my eye on for sure. I stopped Lorcana. One Piece is the way to go for me right now. Yeah, I mean, if you've been in One Piece for the past 90 days, 180 days, you've done pretty well for sure. I get sleepy whenever I hear you, maybe. I'm just getting old like grandpa on the rocks on the side in a rocking chair while watching TV. I don't know, maybe it's just my voice, man. Am I really that boring to listen to? Or is it kind of like a Bob Ross situation where you're watching someone paint and then you just doze off? Because if it's the latter, I mean, I'm fine with that, but if I'm boring, man, I got some work to do, I guess. Well, from the get-go, they said Lurkana would be printed a lot. Yeah, I mean, I haven't paid too much attention, but I think that's fine too, right? Like if you want people to play the game, print the cards, make them cheap, I think that's fine. Obviously, if you want there to be collector value though, you gotta be a little bit more nuanced. More Bob? Okay. I'll take it. I'll take it. Love the content, brother. Always appreciate hearing your insights. Thank you, TCG buds. Appreciate you being here. Not really boring, just have the feels of radio. I've had people tell me that. I've talked to a movie producer in LA and they said I had a voice that would be really good for podcasting, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I get more into live streaming. I'd like to do it weekly. I'd love to have people on as well, but it's a completely different skill set, and I was always like a really awkward kid in high school. I mean, I still feel like I am a super awkward person. So public speaking in general has always been something super difficult for me to do. So I have a lot of work to do. Do you invest in mangas? I don't invest in mangas. I do have one. It's a PSA 10 Trafalgar Law. Let's see. Let's see if we can grab it here. Whoa. Show this off. Camera's up here. So this was the first law, or the first manga, I guess, I actually ever pulled out of a booster box of Royal Blood. Me and my cousin, we sent off some cards to PSA, came back at 10, and I put up a short and got bullied into keeping it. Everyone said to keep it because it was the first manga pull, so it's going to stay in the collection, but no, I haven't really invested into mangas. But people who did earlier this year, they made a ton of money. And generally, when you go into a bull run, a lot of the top cards, and even not even just the top cards, like the maybe like tier two, tier three cards, a lot of those tend to outperform sealed product during bull runs. It's more like when you get out of the bull run, what happens. And I just stick to sealed product because it's deflationary. It's what I know. It's what I've had success with. Goldie Roger manga or Oda Sig for long term? Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, Goldie Roger, you're gonna have lower pop. Oda Sig, it's gonna be a lot higher pop, I would imagine. Oh, by the way, like I think I can click on these, right? Like if I do this, it shows up on screen, right? You guys see this on your screen? I should start doing this because let's see. Can I do another one? If I bring this up, CS:GO live stream soon? Yeah, probably not, man. I haven't played in like 4 or 5 months at this point, so I would be terrible. I'd aim like a face at level 4 probably, and I don't want to put that on stream. Do you chuckle when the PokeTubers try to shit on One Piece? I mean, I I feel like some of them are genuinely rage baiting, but at the same time, there are Pokemon creators that when they talk poorly about One Piece, I feel like it's just a massive ego thing. Like they've missed out on it over the past 6 months and they just have to defend their positions. But some people are absolutely rage baiting. And either way, like I try not to get upset about it just because it's the internet and I'm trying to do a better job of being grounded and not worrying about what other people are doing. Would you ever consider doing live rips? Probably not, honestly. Like I've thought about doing a rip and ship, especially in Canada, but I'm not sure if I want to go back to basically having a full-time job where I'm packing stuff all the time. Like maybe if it was once a week, it'd be chill, but normally when I try and do something, I want to go all in. So if I were going to start a rep and ship, I'd probably just try and go every single day. And right now I just don't think that's something I want to do. But I got to get into the habit of bringing these up as well. Let's see. If I move stuff around too, can you guys see if I bring up new booster boxes? I guess, right? If I'm doing this, I can also bring my stream up. I'm just watching myself back on YouTube. Okay, it's moving. This is looking good, I think. Let's see. Damn, I can't wait for OP14. I want that Mihawk manga. Yeah, I mean, Mihawk is sick. I think OP14, it's going to be interesting. Like, I don't think it's going to be a top set, but at the same time, it definitely has some pretty interesting cards in there. So, yeah, I'm hyped for OP14. I haven't bought any yet though. So, if I see a good price, I'll probably pick some up. Yo, what's up, shiny cardboards? Is that Packet? Pixit? Okay, what's good? Finally. Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a long time in the making to get a stream going. What do you think about Luffy Anniversary card from OPO5? Not the SIG version. So are you just talking about the non-signature version of the exact same card? Like the alt art? That one that's $20? Or is there another one you're talking about? Let me know, and then I'll give you a comment. Need you to Ruby another check. Need you to send Ruby another check. Yeah, Ruben, he's been doing a great job promoting One Piece. I think if he continues doing it, we're gonna see our products continue to go up in price, another 50 to 100%. Just give it another week or two. I gotta catch up with chat here. This is going crazy. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, everyone's confirming that. Awesome. Have you seen Moist Critical's caught up on One Piece? I don't really watch Moist Critical at all. Kind of like anyone in that space, I tend to avoid. The only person I've watched a little bit of is Asmon. Asmon's like kind of based in my opinion, but yeah, wasn't Moist like a huge One Piece hater, and now he's a big fan. Yo, Straw Hat Speculator, what's good? I am the living man. What's good, man? Long term, I would go with Oda Sig because it's iconic. Are we talking about this compared to the Gold Roger? I think that's fine. I think it's close, but maybe that's just my really poor opinion, my really uneducated opinion. I think the Gold Roger, it's going to be a way lower pop. So there is a conversation to be had there. But in terms of how iconic a card is, for sure, the Oda Sig that's a really incredible card. Been collecting since 2023. Cannot believe I was able to buy OG OPO5 Luffy manga for $900 and Oda Sig for 500 Canadian as well. Whew. Sounds ridiculous nowadays. Yeah, those are insane prices. You got in super early. Wow. Congrats. Did you get them graded? Did you keep them raw? Do you still have them? Patricio. Patricio. I'm probably saying that bad. I'm gonna butcher so many names live streaming too. Like, that's one of my biggest fears. 1v1 me Clash Royale. I've never played Clash before, so you'd probably win. I sold one of my OP12 BBs, and my buyer pulled Bonnie Manga. I was generally happy for him. That's why I want to sell BB sealed only, then loose packs. I want them to pull some hits. Yeah, I mean, loose packs in general, 100% stay away from, just because, I don't know, buying stuff like that, the odds that it's a dead pack, probably fairly high, unless you know where you're getting your product from. And being able to sell sealed product and someone pulls a top hit, it's a good feeling too, for sure. Do you sell One Piece English case? I don't. Everything that I buy that you can see behind me over here, long-term investments. I mean, I'll eventually sell because that's how I get my money out of the hobby. But in terms of like a business or anything, no, I don't sell One Piece English. At least not now. Maybe in the future. I think it's a jealousy thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's well, yeah. For some people it is for sure. But I think for some people it's just an ego thing. Like they can't admit whenever they're wrong. And I think that's a pretty dangerous situation to be in, especially when you're making content. And also, if you just can't admit when you're wrong in life, like you're never really going to grow. And I mean, everyone's like that at times. Like no one wants to admit when they get things wrong. I mean, I get things wrong all the time. Like I I actually made a video today on the Pokemon channel talking about some of my worst plays of 2025, and one of those was missing out on Destined Rivals. I should have just loaded up on cases around $200. So it happens. It is what it is. What do you think about TRs from other regions at the long term? Long term. So I actually think some of them could be interesting plays, especially if they end up being exclusive cards and we never get them reprinted in other languages in like a future set or something. So for example, it's VV, right, from OP13. I think that's an interesting card to look at. I'm sure there's going to be some other ones in the future, but I've always said English is the best language to be in. But then when you look at exclusive promos or cards from other regions, those can perform very well also, because at that point, it's more about people just wanting the artwork. And if they can't get it in their preferred language, they're going to have to settle for whatever language it came in. Which to buy OP11 for 210 or OP13 270 or EBO2 for $300. I feel OP11 is a sleeper. I I agree that OP11 is maybe a little bit underrated in some people's eyes. I wouldn't call it a sleeper now, though. I feel like most people understand the values there. In terms of price, though, OP11 at 210, EBO2 at 300, like even OP13 270, there's cases to be made for all of those, honestly. Like when I just look at that and I don't really think about it too deeply, it seems fairly close. So like I think you could go either way. Best bet would probably just be diversify into all of them. And yeah, I mean, I have all those sets. So maybe that's why I don't really care too much about picking one or the other. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. The Boa SP and OP14 is going to be crazy. Yes. Yeah, that'll be a nice SP. I was thinking about the EBO3 SP as well, which I think was probably going to be better, in my opinion. And by better, I mean more expensive. But I do like the Boa SP from OP14 as well. It does look nice. Do you also invest in blister packs? I don't, just because I used to in Pokemon. And the thing with sleeve boosters is a lot of people are very bullish on them until they actually build a semi-large position in sleeve boosters, and then they have to try and sell them. So getting rid of sleeve boosters, it's just a time thing for me at this point. Selling one booster box to one person is a lot easier than trying to sell 24, 36 sleeve boosters. And generally, too, at least in Pokemon, I mean, things change all the time, but generally, the booster boxes will have higher annualized ROI. And again, like there will be outliers, but I try and invest just based on the trends. So that's why I stay away from it, just because it's time consuming and it normally doesn't have a comparable annualized ROI compared to booster boxes. Do you think Japanese will rise once added onto TCG Player? I don't think adding it to TCG Player makes like a huge difference. That's just like my gut instinct that not a lot of people are going to care still. Maybe it's more accessible. People are going to buy more of the cards. Like you could make that argument. I think just in general, Japanese is always going to lag. English is the dominant language. It'll move up with time. There'll always be a point where it's worth buying if it gets too out of sorts, right? Like if the English products are a 10x multiple of Japanese, whereas normally they're 5x, like maybe you can make an argument for Japanese, but I think just in general, there's way more people that want to buy the English product. But we'll see. I could be wrong about that. LCS in Quebec are insane, selling OP13 at 450 to 500 a box. Yeah, that seems a little bit expensive, right? Like I think when I looked at Shopify yesterday, there were a lot of stores that were still in like the 425 Canadian range. And I don't know much about Quebec, but are you guys on HST? Is it 13% there as well when you buy something? Generally, if I'm buying from a store on Shopify, I'm paying 5% in tax. I try and avoid the stores that charge BST as well. So, yeah, paying 450 to 500 and then tax on top is just insane. I don't envy anyone from Quebec. Except you guys do ring out the West when it comes to equalization, but probably shouldn't get into politics on a live stream. Wait, does OP14 have gold and silver SP? Yes, the buggies, right? The buggy SPs, I believe. Looking forward to ripping OP14. I'll bring this up as well. Looking forward to ripping OP14 and 15 and holding EB anniversary sets. Yeah, I tend to hold everything, but if you like to rip, go for it, man. That's awesome. What's your chase card? Hey man, just joined. What's up, Brandon? Brendan. Oh my gosh. See, I'm gonna butcher so many names. I gotta find a way to make this chat larger too, because I have really bad eyesight. I mean, I shouldn't use that as an excuse for me not being able to read, but it would be nice if it was a little bit larger. Bring this up. So what makes a hype set in One Piece? What separates OPO 1, OPO 5, and OP 13 from the rest? And what can future set do to rival? Yeah, so for me, I always look at the top 1, 5, and 10 value. I don't think that obviously the character plays a role. Like if the top hits a Luffy or something, I think that is important and something to consider. But normally it just comes down to the value for me. Like when you look at OPO 9, you have the Gold Roger up top. Sure, you have a Luffy manga, Shanks, but I think the top 10 value right now is fairly close to like 8 or 9K USD. Might even be a little bit more than that. OPO 5 is in that same range. PRBO 1, same deal. OP 13 is in a league of its own. But that's what I look for, is just making sure there's a ton of value, because a lot of my thesis when it comes to investing in sealed product is that people are going to want to open it in the future. And generally, the products that people open are the ones that have those really expensive chase cards that people are trying to pull, if that makes sense. So that's what I look for. Sets that have a lot of value, and if they're cheap boxes as well. Like OP13, you know, stores were just selling it at 140. They were dumping it here in Canada. I'd never seen LGSs give a discount if you bought cases. Then they were giving you 5% off if you bought a case of OP13. It made no sense to me. You're paying 140 USD all in after the conversion. And that was a set that clearly was going to have a top 10 value of like $15,000 or more. So yeah, it was just such a no brainer to hop on that. Um, Oreo, though, those sets are anniversary sets. Yeah, I mean, Bandai, I guess, does special things for anniversary sets. I don't know, like they've been adding more mangas every time, it seems. So maybe fourth anniversary, there's gonna be like 10 mangas. Who knows? It's gonna be hard for them to continue one-upping themselves, but yeah, anniversary sets are generally pretty strong. The Poke Bros are underestimating One Piece fans. I would 100% agree with that. 100%. Like even before the boom that we've had over the past, I don't know, like 60 days, things were already moving. Like OPO 5 was up over 100% on the year. PRBO 1, I think, was up like 200%, 150%. So Romance Dawn as well. Like many sets were moving. The first, second anniversary, even some of the manga cards and SPs were already starting to trickle up. So yeah, like there is organic demand growing for One Piece. And obviously we're throwing gasoline on the fire over the past couple months, but I think even if a lot of the people here speculate on the game end up leaving, you're still going to have a really solid base of collectors and people who want to play the TCG. Do you think OP15 will have gold and silver SPs, or do you think that was exclusive to the Four Emperors? I have no clue. I generally have no idea what's going to go on with new sets. I kind of just wait for a new Wasi Plays video where he talks about the cards coming out and stuff. And if we get more gold and silver cards, great. If not, maybe Bandai is cooking something else. Do you usually trust buying stuff from TCG Player? I've actually never bought anything from TCG Player. I live in Canada, so buying from the States, especially over the past year with tariffs, it's just not something I want to do. So in Canada, I normally just buy on Shopify. I've used eBay sometimes as well. I wouldn't worry about it, right? Like if you're buying from someone who has a lot of feedback, it's really high rating as well, like 99% positive or better, you're going to be fine. I really wouldn't worry about it. And then again, like I always tell people, buy with a credit card, and if you ever have an issue, you just open a chargeback with your credit card. I use Amex and they're great. So luckily I've never actually had to use them for a chargeback, but anything else customer service wise, they're amazing. You really shouldn't worry about it too much, honestly. Like I think in terms of buying stuff online, the seller actually has more risk than the buyer. That's just my opinion. What do you think about SRs or R event rares? Are they worth holding on to? Um, are those like manga event rares or different cards we're talking about? I don't really know. Look, I think that there's going to be a lot of those types of cards that do well, and I think it depends on which card it is, which event, who's featured in the card. Those are all things that play a role in how well a card does, but I don't really have any strong feelings on any individual card in One Piece. At least not those. Sorry if that's not a good enough answer. Do you think a bubble is coming? I want to get some singles to actually collect them, but of course, getting them for cheaper so I could get more would be nice. I definitely think that singles will be cheaper in the future. That's just my opinion. It's really hard to talk, by the way. Like, holy cow, I gotta practice this. But no, I think that singles will be cheaper in the future. I mean, a lot of them have all run up like 3, 4, 500%. Some cards even more. Like, it isn't sustainable, and you're going to see people take profits eventually. So some cards, I'm not saying across the board everything's going to be cheaper in the future, but I definitely think there will be a lot of cards that you'll be able to pick up at better prices, and especially for sets that are still fairly new that haven't got a reprint yet, like let's say OP12, OP13, anything coming out in OP14 onwards. Yeah, those are probably going to be cheaper in the future. At least most of them. What do you think about OP Po Manga Luffy? I don't know exactly which one you're talking about here, unfortunately. But I like all the manga Luffys. There's not one that I don't like. Livestream, let's go. Thanks for all the videos, mate. Kobe, appreciate you being here. Have you seen any vintage cards lately selling on eBay? We got to do the update video tomorrow, so if there's anything you want me to throw in there, just shoot me a message on Discord. By the way, I had someone today tell me I should promote the Discord more. So if you guys aren't in there, link in the description, as always. Should even be in the live stream description. And yeah, free to join. Just come in, act like a normal human, and it'll be a good time. Pre-Rata Luffy Alt Art Leader is the GOAT. That is a really good card. I think it's back up to like 7K, 7.5. It's moving again, so I imagine that will show up in tomorrow's video as well. How do you feel about the rarity of treasure cups? I mean, they seem fairly rare, no? Fairly low pop cards. Could be a decent play. Do you think AAs from One Piece will perform better than Pokemon IRs or perform well in general? I think some of them could, for sure. Depends on how many alternate arts are in a set. Depends on the character in it. Depends on the artwork. Depends on if that set gets a reprint or not. So lots of factors, but I think some of them could definitely do well. Yep. But again, like these are all my biased takes. I don't invest in singles. You guys know that. I stick to sealed product. It's deflationary. It's what I know. I don't really have to worry about picking and choosing winners because I don't think that I am smart enough to do that. And I think a lot of people who do think they're smart enough to do that will eventually get burned using that strategy. But that's just me. Do you think the price of OP14 will drop after release or just buy the pre-orders now? Tough to tell. I mean, generally sets, at least in One Piece, have been dropping after release when that second wave comes. I think it's going to be a little bit tricky with 14, EBO3, OP15, just because of the situation we're in right now, the hype cycle. It's going to be very difficult to find deals on product. That's just what I'm assuming. Whether that's because stores want to hold back product, whether because everyone's just buying it out instantly. So if you find a decent deal, decent opportunity that you're happy with, I'd recommend just buying that and be ready to dollar cost average and buy more if the opportunity presents itself. I'm talking about the regular alt art of the Luffy from OPO5, if I recall correctly. It's sitting around $50. Let me look. I can bring this up, right? It's the same one, just without the SIG, if I'm remembering correctly. Let's see. Oh, it was up there, I think. This one, this card right here, that's up 473% on the year. That you could have been buying in the summer for $5. Yeah, I mean it's a great artwork. I love it. It's amazing. But, would I be buying it now at $40 as an investment? No. That's just my take. Just my take. I got Porcus D Ace SP today and Kuzon SP. Awesome. Which Ace SP? The one from OP08 or OP13? What are your thoughts about OP13? Still a good buy at current prices, or do you think they'll print it to the ground? It has a prismatic feel to it. Um, this is something I've really been kind of flip-flopping on because for the longest time at release, right, when it was already up to $225, I was telling people have money ready for when a reprint comes and just jump on it then. But I think when a reprint comes, it's going to get chewed up fast. And I would imagine too that Bandai, at least they should, increase the print run on OP13 compared to some of these other sets. Because if they give us the same amount of boxes, it's probably going to be one of those situations. Let's say like I don't know when Paldea Evolve got a reprint earlier this year, or like when Surging Sparks was dropping, even like the booster bundles or whatever. Like people were gobbling up product really fast. 151 restocks at Walmart. I could see it being one of those situations where everyone just buys everything and it's gone within a week again. So yeah, I mean it's tough. It really is tough. I don't know the answer right now. I'm personally not buying anymore currently. I have my cases. I have money set aside for more cases if they do get a reprint, but right now I'm not buying any. But if I change my mind, I will let everyone know for sure. Hopefully that makes sense. That was really long-winded and poorly explained. What do you think of Bandai ripping the seals off booster boxes in their store? I'm imagining you're talking about in their like official Bandai stores. I actually don't mind it. I really don't mind it. Like, for them, it's a way to maybe combat scalping a little bit. I don't think it works perfectly. Like even OPO5, if we go back to this, in the summer when Awaken the New Era, there were boxes hitting the stores in New Jersey, I believe, and maybe some other places. People were still selling the boxes without the seals for like $220, $240 on eBay and TCG Player. So it doesn't solve the issue, in my opinion, but I don't mind them doing it at all. I really don't. And I've lost track of where I was. This is not good. Pedro, what's up, man? LFG for sure, dude. We got lots of improvements though. This is gonna be super cringe. I'm gonna rewatch the whole stream, by the way, just to like check the audio and see if there's anything I can improve upon. But yeah, this isn't gonna be fun. Thoughts on One Piece Heroine sets EBO3? I don't have any for sale because I don't sell One Piece cards. I don't even have any pre-ordered. It's been basically impossible to find EBO3 in Canada. Like there were some stores that did really early pre-orders that I missed out on. And hopefully within the next month there'll be some stores that put up pre-orders, but I think it's going to be really expensive. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to end up doing. I have a couple connections in Singapore. I may end up just trying to get some of the 4Asia boxes because I think in North America it's going to be insanely expensive. That again will be something like when I know exactly what I'm doing, I'll definitely announce it. Hey, Straw Hat Speculator, big fan of your videos. Where do you see Oda's signature and EBO2 Manga Luffy in 5 years? First of all, thank you for watching the videos. I appreciate it. Where I see Oda Sig and Manga Luffy from EBO2 in 5 years, I mean, in terms of price, no clue. but I think those are two of the best cards that Bandai has released. So if the game's popping, they're going to be very expensive and hard to get. If the game isn't going super crazy, they might be a little bit easier to find, but they will be some of the more expensive cards for sure in One Piece. Can you talk about Luffy Super Pre-release? I like this card. Yeah, I mean, it shows up sometimes in the weekend videos when there's sales. I think it's a decent artwork, and some people like investing in it. Pretty cool. Not a card I would buy, but I understand why some people have invested in it. Makes sense. I think since One Piece is so new, people are getting in and will be good holds. Imagine if we all were there when Pokemon first started. We'd all hold our base and Skyward Sets OP has that potential. I agree. Like if One Piece continues to go and grow and the collecting side of the hobby, which is that's the side of the hobby that when I started out, I was banking on that growing in the future. But if more people come in and actually want to collect these cards and hold them long term, it's not just a phase for 1 or 2 years. Some of these early sets in One Piece, like Romance Dawn, OPO5, even OPO9 at this point is more than a year removed. And then anything, of course, from like Paramount War, Kingdoms of Intrigue, even though those sets aren't super deep, like those could be very expensive cards, and those sealed products could get very expensive in the future. So yeah, it really is it's something with a lot of upside in my opinion. But obviously there's still risks there, right? Like you don't have the 30-year track record that you do in something like Pokemon. What do you think about the OP Luffy manga from '09? I bought one near mint for 950 like 2 weeks ago. That seems like a pretty good buy near mint. Do you think it's going to grade a 10, Lucas? If you could get a 10, because I think 3 grand, 3,500 for a 10 now of that card. Maybe I'm just losing my mind, but I think it's getting up there. Pretty cool pose as well. I think it's cool. Do you think Gundam TCG will boom like One Piece? No, I don't. Um, the thing with Gundam is like maybe the TCG will do well. People enjoy playing it. At least I've heard, so that's awesome. But when I look at the potential collector side of that hobby, I don't see people collecting Gundam cards the way they collect Pokemon cards or even how they're collecting One Piece cards. That's just my opinion. I did buy one box of New Type Rising just to, take a small gamble on it, but it's not something I'm investing in, and I don't think it's going to be something that sticks around for a very long period of time. Still have them both ungraded, unpopular opinion here, but I like to see my cards closely without a case once in a while. Yeah, I mean that's fair. Patricio, if that's what you like, awesome. You know, I'll never be one to shame what people do with their own property. I think it's so weird how on the internet there are so many people that tell others what to do, whether it's with their own stuff, with their own money. I just think it's a really weird thing that we have in our culture. If you like something, if you're not hurting other people, just keep doing you. Do you think they will do massive reprints in the future, or these are it? The cards that are out are out. Um, that's a $1 million question, right? If I knew the answer to that, I would definitely be putting my money where I knew the best opportunities would be. So I have no clue. I imagine OP13 we're going to see a reprint next year. I'm one of those people in One Piece. A lot of people disagree with me. I'm very conservative with my investments, and I think that there's still potential that Bandai could go back and reprint a lot of sets like OPO5, OPO9. These are sets that aren't rotating out next year, by the way. They're going to be in rotation for at least another year. So I think there's always potential they do that. And I think like you should have some level of money put aside in the event that happens. Do I think it's super likely? No. But at the same time, like just be ready for anything, right? That's how you if you're properly capitalized in this hobby, that's where you're going to do the best. If you if you're in a position where you spend every single dollar you have and then reprints come and you can't capitalize on that, you're going to miss out on gains. Mac Daddy, what's up, man? Appreciate that. As long as it sounds good, people's ears aren't bleeding, that's definitely number one thing here. If Rudy says to pay attention and they still talk smack, that tells you something. Rudy's not always right, but he's the biggest fish and he's humble enough to at least say it has potential. Yeah, you know, it's funny. It's funny watching Rudy make videos about One Piece. I'm one of those people now. Maybe I'm just too jaded, but whenever Rudy says something, I think it's just something he's saying because it's going to benefit him if people respond the way he expects them to what he's saying. So I think Rudy took a big position in One Piece, or he's planning to, or at least a larger position. So, he says some weird things sometimes. You got to watch his videos and take him with a grain of salt. But in terms of like the financial advice he gives out, like when it's not related to TCGs, he's just talking about his life and just finances in general. Those are my favorite types of videos from Rudy. Like you can tell the guy has been super successful in life. He's worked incredibly hard, and you have to give him respect for that. Like the guy is incredibly smart and knowledgeable. Nice beard. Yeah, man, it covers up the triple chin, so we got to keep it going. 2026, I gotta lose like 3 or 4 kilos. It's getting bad. Too many Domino's pizzas. Millionaire dude right here. Hopefully one day. Hopefully one day. Not there yet, but hopefully in the future. Silver or diamond Luffy SP? When you say silver or diamond, are you referring to the same card, like how I label it as diamond or silver? Or are you referring to the gold one as diamond? I feel like I'm a bit confused, but I call them the silver Luffy's instead of diamond. But I know some people have brought that up. But again, like I don't really care. Whatever you want to call it, you can call it, right? At the end of the day, it's just a word. Thought you were white. I don't even know why I'm bringing that up. Yeah, I mean, you know, I sound Caucasian, I guess. I don't know. There's also there's also videos on this channel, if you go way back and look at some of the first ones I put out, where I actually am on camera, sitting in front of all this stuff, talking about what I bought. Paramount War is highly underrated, better set than Memorial Collection, older, and is top tier season in manga. That might not be a hot take. I don't even think it's that bad of a take, to be honest. When you compare it to EBO 1, I feel like it's not that hard of a set to beat. We got the Chopper manga in there. And I mean, yeah, Bond Clay. Bond Clay's awesome, but yeah, in terms of value, like it's pretty easy to beat EBO 1. I will say though that I do like the box of EBO 1 more. It's pink. It looks great. But in terms of cards, yeah, I don't think that's super hot take. Bandai is homogenizing most regions into English. Europe, Southeast Asia, Latin America, and even Thailand, Taiwan that had Japanese print are getting English. Wow. I didn't realize that now. That's interesting. I guess it makes sense though, right? Like honestly, if you want your game to succeed, just shell out a ton of English. That's something like in Pokemon. I mean, I understand they do all these languages, but yeah, like I've always been a fan of investing in English. It's what most people are going to want. And I feel like even in some of these Asian countries or countries in other parts of the world where they get different languages, a lot of the people there also want English cards. So to me, it makes sense. I don't mind them doing that. But again, that's my very uneducated take. I'm going to have a lot of those in this video, by the way, probably. I got a few of the Chinese TRs and got the French Zoro as well in the collection I bought. First, I thought of selling them, but got a second thought when I knew they were exclusives. The art is awesome. Yeah, I mean, exclusive arts can do very well. And it's a Zoro and the Vivi in Chinese, right? So fairly popular characters. There's so much chat to get still. Holy cow. I only mentioned Moist Critical because he made an amazing point about the IP. Oda is a top author, the story is masterpiece, and you become invested 100%. Yeah, like Oda is an absolute genius. And the deeper I get in the anime, like I haven't read the manga, but just watching the anime has been amazing. The character development, even of some of the characters that aren't top characters, right? Like it's amazing. I'm I'm a big One Piece fan now, and I'm not just saying that because I'm invested in it. Do you think Bandai would ever go off script and reprint any of the EB sets? I'm watching the Gear 2 Luffy manga thinking it'll be a great long-term hold and low pop if they never reprint. Yeah, like I think in the future, for sure they could reprint extra boosters. Like I would not I I'm not one of those people that will say just because something's happened for the past 2 to 3 years that that is going to continue in the future. So I could definitely see them changing print runs, going back and reprinting whatever, right? Like you do have to expect that. Like if EBO1 got a reprint or EBO2, I have money put aside for that. So it's not something I really concern myself with, but just expect the unexpected. And by the way, I'm not saying that it's something super likely to happen. Like I think the probability of it's very low, but don't put anything past Bandai. That's really what I'm just trying to say there. I'm still waiting for any restock of OP17. I missed it, so I just pre-ordered a case of OP16. Yeah, it's crazy. Like the OP17 that Hobbies will put up, I think it sold out 4 times or 5 times. So I think they started at maybe 190 Canadian. Might have even been less than that. And then they went to 200, 220, 230, 240. I think 250 was the last time. So crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. What do you think about investing into cards based off of future events? For example, Akayuno is going to have a huge fight at the end, and his SP is the cheapest. Yeah, like I I don't mind that line of thinking. Like I don't think it's terrible. Um, it could be something where maybe you turn into a short-term play, but at the same time, you got to remember that the character plays a huge role. So even if he's gonna have a big fight, it's still Akayuno at the end of the day. It's not a Luffy, it's not a Zoro, it's not a Nami. So maybe we'll see an uptick in a card like that, but I still think it's going to be one of those cards compared to one of the more popular characters that's more difficult to move and probably isn't going to have a super huge bump, in my opinion. That's how I see most of those playing out. Now, if something crazy happens in One Piece and some like less relevant character right now ends up being incredibly important to the story long term, then sure, like those types of cards could absolutely blow up in price. But I think just for the average thing where, someone's featured in a certain arc that's coming up, their cards are going to explode. It's not something that I would try and capitalize on. Ian, what's up, man? Zoan. Actually, it might be the afternoon now in Singapore. Sending holiday wishes. Appreciate you, bro. I did message you on WhatsApp, by the way. I'm not sure if you're gonna get back to me, but yeah, hopefully everything's going well there, man. We gotta chat soon. What do you think about blind pre-ordering cases of new sets at 250 Canadian? Seems like a good idea in the current market, but a little risky considering the bubble and how long pre-orders take. Yeah, so I would 100% agree. It's risky. It's interesting though because today when I made my Pokemon video, I should close this too. I gotta move my camera as well because every time I bring one of these up, it just covers my face, which isn't ideal. I guess I could do this. Um, it's funny because in my video today, when I was talking about my biggest mistakes this year, Pokemon investing, one of them was not buying Journey Together on pre-order. So back in, I think like February, middle of February, I remember Cans and Games, you could pre-order boxes at I think 150 Canadian plus tax. And if you bought 2 boxes, you're getting free shipping. So you were all in like 157 Canadian, 158 after tax, which is 110, 115 USD, very cheap. Those boxes ran all the way up to around 270 in the summer. So it was free tendy. Like you could double up in 6 months. I didn't take advantage of that. The the issue with something like OP17 is you're pre-ordering a year in advance basically, or 10 months, 11 months, whatever it's going to be. So I do think there's a little bit more risk there, and that's why like I don't know. It could go either way. If we get an even better set for the 4th anniversary, even if the market's not as popping, I could definitely see it being like 300, 350 Canadian out the gate because OP13 that exploded up to like 300 Canadian overnight. So I do think there is potential upside, but the higher the pre-orders get, the more risk you're taking on. That's just my opinion. But who knows? It'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. You're chilling, bro. Yeah. I'm trying, man. I'm still stressed. Like this whole live streaming stuff is incredibly new to me. So, I got work to do. And I'm running out of water, which isn't great. I definitely was not super prepared for this, which is bad. Show us the Law Manga King. Whoops, almost dropped it. It's been here. It's been here. We brought it up already. Beautiful card. Don't worry, Jollibee. I'm not going to sell it. Just because you told me to keep it, we're keeping it. Love from Australia. What's up, man? What part of Australia are you from, David? Hello, good to see you live. Thank you, Ghetto. Appreciate you being here. Chat wants to know what was the highlights of the Columbia trip. Well, first off, dude, I gotta castrate you. You spelled Columbia wrong. It's with an O. And being being married to a Colombiana, I can't let that slide anymore. So we first of all we gotta get that over. But no, jokes aside, Bogota was probably the highlight. Like I'm not a huge fan of very warm weather, so Santa Marta wasn't super enjoyable in that aspect. I also think it's super overrated. Like whenever I go somewhere and the menus are in English, in Colombia specifically. Obviously, if you're in Canada or somewhere, the menu is going to be in English. But in Colombia, if I see a menu in English, I just know I'm going to be paying like 100% more than what a local's paying. And being there with my parents, I mean, maybe that played a role in it, but we'd always get the gringo prices for everything. It's so annoying. Like whenever I go somewhere with my wife and it's just the two of us, things are a lot better because you see how it is to be a local and they treat you differently. So yeah, it was fine. Like Santa Marta in general, beautiful beaches. Like if you're going just for that, 100% it's worth going for. But the infrastructure there is terrible. Like the sewer smells really bad. I think they actually are planning to do something like they're putting 40 billion pesos towards it, which I don't even know the conversion, but hopefully in the future the city is gonna deal with that. I will say too, like Santa Marta seemed very safe compared to Bogota, Soacha, other parts of the larger centers. Like Santa Marta was chill in that aspect, but yeah, Bogota, like the northern part of the city there, I love. I'm looking to potentially buy an apartment there. I could absolutely see myself living there year round. It would be great, and I think now that I'll be able to get permanent residency if I just go through the process of doing all the paperwork and stuff. It'll just make things that much easier to be there and to come back and forth at that point. So, yeah. Outside that, like seeing family too, visiting our parents, mis suegros, it was a good time. And I love the food. It's amazing. The SPs make or break a set in my opinion. I don't necessarily disagree with that. Like obviously it adds, but I think having a manga card that's huge is more important in my opinion. Like you could have a set with terrible SPs, but if you have a manga card that's worth $2,000, it's automatically going to be like a pretty solid set. So yeah, I think the manga plays a huge role as well. But I don't hate that take. OPO5 and OPO9 have the best SP sets. I would disagree with that. I really like Royal Blood. I think that illustration style is amazing. But that's just my bias. Again, like I got into it with someone yesterday in my comments on my main channel when we were talking about preferences, and it's like it's such a waste of time to argue preferences with people because it's like some people like this, some people like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that something is better or worse. So if you like something, amazing. Great. That's all that matters at the end of the day. Don't worry about other people's opinion. Buying PRBO2 at 300 Canadian right now worth it? What does it even convert to in USD? You know, I spend so much of my day working in USD that when I have to go back to Canadian, unless it's for buying things, I get so confused. That's like 210 USD, maybe, in that range. Yeah, it's not terrible. If you want to buy a case, I'll sell you for Asia case 2400 Canadian plus shipping. If anyone wants it. I got it from my boy Ian in Singapore. So it's a legit product. I just don't want it. Isn't EBO2 top 10 going to be crazy since most of them will be going for 200 plus for 27 gold leaders? Yeah, I mean that's something I've talked about multiple times before, and you're dead on. Like I think with all these gold leaders going up now, it might take a while before people realize. I actually kind of expected already that some of those EBO2 boxes would be moving up in price. And we've seen, I wonder if I can come in here and show you guys. Let's go back to this. If we come over here. I was looking at this today. Second page, I think. We're over 330 now, which is interesting. I'm not sure how well this is going to show up, but you can see here on December 16th, there were 29 boxes that sold. The day after that, we had 14. Then we had 13, 15, which is today, still for me. I know for some of you guys, it's already the 20th. So we've seen an increase in sales over the past 4 to 5 days. I wouldn't be surprised if that continues because when we come in here and look at some of these cards now, they're getting very expensive. And these charts like aren't even caught up too. Like this Luffy, we saw sales at $1,200. You know, this Bonnie sales over 6. This Luffy, I'm curious actually. What's the recent sale we've seen here? $800 from today. Wow. Holy cow. Okay. And a couple days ago, more sales at 750. This one at 800. Yeah. So I think EBO2, we could definitely see those boxes starting to move. That would just be my guess. We got a lot of chat to catch up on. You do not look like I imagined. I've gotten that a few times. Yeah. How do they say? Face for radio and a voice for print. Yep, that's me. That's all right though. My average price per box for OP13 is 123 USD. Congratulations, that is an amazing average price on OP13. You've done well. I imagine that you either pre-ordered very early or you got good prices right after release. That's amazing. Yo, what's up, Coochie? What's good, man? Appreciate you being here. What do you do to be able to afford all this TCG? Yeah, so I'm actually full-time now, content creating, doing the consulting, everything like that. But before, first of all, like I worked when I was going to school all the time. So in the summers, I worked for a paving company one year. I was a restaurant manager for a really long period of time. I did residential and commercial painting. And then after I graduated, I was kind of forced into just doing my thing full time. Like I was doing a lot of reselling when I was in school as well. And that just became a full time thing. I did Amazon FBA. And a lot of what you see behind me, I really got lucky with. Like I made a massive purchase into Sword and Shield era booster boxes. And a lot of them are still here, by the way. All of these on this row. This is very difficult to do, by the way. Still getting used to it. All of this row and then the row below it is my Sword and Shield position. So Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, Chilling, and then a ton of Brilliant Stars. So I've made huge profits on those, and it's really just been, you know, recycling that into new products every now and then. which I did with One Piece this year, and just being smart with my money and living within my means. I never had a crazy salary job, and just saved up, worked hard, and grateful that after 10, 11 years of doing that, I'm where I'm at. So yeah. Did you pre-order any OP 14 or 15? Nope, I haven't yet. Mm-mm. But I imagine I'll pick some up. Like OP 14 looks interesting. I don't think it's going to be a crazy set, in my opinion. That's just my gut instinct looking at the manga card. And sure, some of the SPs will have value, the buggies in there, the gold and silver, but no crazy manga chase. I don't think we're going to see a top 10 value anywhere near 5K. It's probably going to be somewhere near the middle of the road. And if the boxes are like 250 Canadian at release, I think I'd rather just buy OP12 because you can still buy OP12 from Hobbiesville for I think 200 Canadian. Is there any proof Bandai won't do huge reprints or make second edition? They did that with Dragon Ball. Pretty sure they'll do that in One Piece. Are you talking about, in terms of second edition, are you talking about splitting the game into like Masters and Fusion World, like they did with Dragon Ball? I highly doubt they do that in One Piece if that's what you're referring to. Is there any evidence that they won't go back and reprint? No, there's no evidence. The only thing that we have to look at is the track record from the past few years. And up to this point, they haven't done reprints on the premium or extra boosters. And the mainline sets generally get a reprint, at least one. Have you personally been de-risking more at the moment? That's a good question. I sold one OPO5 booster box to a viewer, and I appreciate them buying it off me, but the rest of my boxes I'm keeping. And a lot of like OPO9, OP11, OP13, these are incredible sets. EBO2 as well, you could throw in there, PRBO2, PRBO1. Like, I am not planning to move any of this, right? So if over the next 12 months there's a correction, a lot of people leave, I'm not going to care because I believe in these products long term. If if you have a lot of cards that are up 2, 3, 400%, I'd probably feel a lot more inclined to de-risk. But knowing that I have some of the best sealed products that Bandai has released that I could easily see being worth double what they are now in 5 years, no, I don't really have a desire to get rid of them. And by the way, it's so funny how everything ties into the video I made today. On the main Poke Profit channel, another one of my mistakes that I made this year was getting rid of some of my Fusion Strike and Lost Origin booster boxes. Now, I did put a lot of that money into One Piece, so I put it in a decent spot, but at the same time, those were some of the best sets in Pokemon, and I definitely regret moving those cases. Like, if I could go back, I probably would have just held on to them. Hopefully that makes sense. We got a couple trolls in here. You ate the bald fruit. You a bald man. 100%, dude. Really bad hairline. It is what it is. We can't control our genetics. You kind of remind me of Clover Cards. I'm not sure if I should take that as a compliment or not. I mean, he's a good YouTuber, but that's really all I know about him. Recommend an easy 2x card. I don't know if there's any easy 2x cards out there anymore, man. I'll be honest. I think a lot of the gains are gone. OP12 good buy right now while under MSRP. Yeah, like it's definitely the safest option, I think, in terms of sealed product right now. Like if you go to Hobbiesville, they're selling at 200 Canadian. I think there's a couple other stores in Canada that are still at 200 Canadian, which is, by the way, more expensive than it was like a month ago, but it's still the cheapest booster box on the market, basically. It's cheaper than Royal Blood, than Two Legends, which I think OP12's a middle of the road set for sure, somewhere in the middle. And the fact that the booster box is the cheapest, it doesn't really line up, right? So yeah, I think it's a decent buy. Hey man, where do you place your EBO3 pre-orders? I haven't pre-ordered yet. basically all the places in Canada haven't done their second wave pre-orders yet. Like I know some people did very early pre-orders like a couple months ago at this point. I'm still waiting to see what those stores end up doing. I'm hoping I can get some product at a decent price, but I wouldn't be surprised now if pre-orders, at least in Canada, are like 300 Canadian, 200 USD plus. I think that's what we should be expecting, maybe even higher. Like I think on TCG Player, if we come back through here, let me share the screen with you guys again. If we come back in here and look just on TCG Player, and again, like pre-orders on TCG Player are going to be higher than what they ultimately end up being, just because only select stores can do pre-orders on TCG Player, but they're going for 300 Canadian right now. And you have sales every day. Like not a ton, but a couple boxes moving every single day at that price. So, yeah, 200, 250, I really wouldn't be surprised if that's where things ultimately end up starting for EBO3. Which sealed boxes do you see as the best long-term holds? I recently picked up 2 cases, 12 boxes each of OPO9 and EBO3. Those are both great sets, in my opinion. EBO3, I'm maybe not as high on. Like, I think it might be a little bit overrated, but OPO9 is a great set. It's definitely up there. Oh, we got a super chat in here. Do you sell to overseas looking English OP? Um, First of all, I don't know what currency that is. I don't know where you're from, but I appreciate the super chat. I don't personally. If you're looking for English product, I have connections in Singapore that I could get you in touch with. So I would recommend reaching out on Discord and I can get you in touch with some people and hopefully that works out if you want English product. I don't know if OP16 will be a good set because Paramount War is not as good as other sets, but still Impel Down and Marineford is my favorite arc. Hopefully it will be good. I pre-ordered a case. Hopefully. I mean, I think there's a decent amount of hype around OP16 and it'll be interesting to see. I'm hoping for a Whitebeard manga. That might be one card where you guys know I don't like picking up singles. That might be a card where I try and pick up a near mint copy and grade it if there's a Whitebeard manga. Y'all think the promo Zeus card that came with the playmat is worth getting now, or maybe it'll drop? It's gone up a lot, right? I don't even know what it's at now, but it's moving. It's moving for sure. I feel OP13 is the next Evolving Skies. Bandai will short print. They already learned their lesson. We'll see. We'll see. I don't necessarily agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to reprint OP13. No way they short print. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. W Stream, the Asian TCG. Appreciate you being here, bro. Means a lot. And obviously, if you have any recommendations for the future, let me know. First time around, I'm sure there's lots of things that we can improve upon for next time. I was able to pre-order EBO3 in UK, and I'm in the US. So some people do that. That's actually like not a bad strategy. I was talking to someone about a month ago, and they bought some boxes from the UK as well. Italy as well. I know a lot of people get boxes from there. I've actually been looking, and even on Shopify, there's really nothing right now. And I don't know if that's because I'm still using a Canadian address. So yeah, Europe, I think prices are going to be cheaper still, which is surprising. But if you don't mind paying tariffs or import fees or whatever, that's also another way to go about it. 4 Asia boxes are good, men. Sitting on them at retail price. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a huge difference in price between the 4 Asia and the North American or European release, or I don't think there will be a huge difference. The reason I said I don't want the PRBO2 case is just because I kind of bought it as a favor to someone. It wasn't something that I was planning to get more exposure to because I already had a case of PRBO2, so that's why I am planning to move it. That's the only reason why. I'm still very bullish on PRBO2. And 4 Asia in general, I don't think is terrible. Curious, what's your day-to-day job, and have you personally been de-risking more at the moment? Yeah, so I'm going full time now, content creation and the consulting, and I've been so lucky. The spreadsheet's grown a ton over the past 6 months that I've been doing it. So with all that now, I can easily go full time, especially like even in Canada, it's a pretty decent wage now at this point that I built. But if we move to Colombia, which is still it's something that we haven't decided yet. Like I'd still be interested in checking out Asia and potentially putting down roots there, like maybe in Malaysia or some other countries. But if we do end up moving to Colombia, it'll be more than enough money to support a family. And I'm super grateful to everyone I've worked with and just everyone being here today too. Like it helps out a ton. So yeah, that's what I'm currently doing. In terms of de-risking, not really in one piece. I'm holding everything long term. I believe in these products, and I think within 5 years, it's very reasonable that we'll see these boxes be more expensive. But at the same time, like if you bought OPO5 at $200 and you want to move some boxes because it's $800 now, I absolutely understand. Makes perfect sense. Do you think case premiums are currently lagging for some sets? There's basically no premium. Um, Maybe like a couple sets, but it'd be for older ones, right? Like a new set that just came out, it's not really reasonable for there to be a massive premium on them just because loose boxes you get from stores, you can't really assume they're dead boxes, right? Like if someone's, for example, Hobbiesville, like they're going through so many boxes, they're selling one or two loose boxes to a lot of different people. So in the future, as sets get older, definitely expect the premiums to grow. Just in general, if I think that case premiums are lacking or lagging, maybe on a couple sets. But if there's like a 10-15% premium, which we're already seeing on a couple sets, I think that's fine and in a decent range. Recently picked up a super pre-release winner Luffy. Tried my best to do research as to how many are in circulation. Curious if you have any insight on that and if it's worthwhile long-term hodl. Yeah, I don't have the best insight. I'm never the best person to ask when it comes to individual cards. You guys know me, I just deal with sealed product, but I'm sure there's some people in the chat who will probably tag you and give you their opinion. I bought 3 boxes of OPO5 3 months ago to rip. Once my GF catches up to the anime or on the anime, I was shocked to see it was nearly 800 now. Yeah, I mean OPO5 has absolutely exploded, and if you bought 3 months ago, you're doing well. So if you are still planning to rip them, enjoy. That'll be awesome. And if you also hold them, I mean you've done super well also. Hey, what do you think of OP premium card collection volumes and OP illustration boxes long term? So, the premium card collections, I think I'm a little bit more bullish on now. And just in general, like Bandai puts out promo sets, I guess, like the first anniversary set, the second anniversary set, basically where you can get cards only from those. You can't get them from mainline sets. They're never going to release them anywhere else. I think I become a little bit more bullish on them. I still don't own any, but I understand why people buy those, especially if they can get them at MSRP or near MSRP. It makes sense to me. The illustration boxes, generally illustration boxes, I'm not a huge fan of. The reason for that, they're mass produced, so they're everywhere. They're also more difficult to store. They're more difficult to ship. And just in general, generally, right? In general, they don't have as good of an ROI compared to booster boxes, at least in other TCGs. And who knows, like maybe that'll change in One Piece, but just because I've seen that happen so many times in other games, it's something that I would avoid. But there are going to be collection boxes that have good promos, that have decent packs inside, that end up doing well. For example, the volume one and twos, the one with the Boa Hancock and the Onami in there from this year, I believe. Like those are very expensive now. Those promo cards are up massive. So it's not like you can never make money, but I just think in general you're better off sticking with booster boxes. Hopefully that makes sense. OPO9 has a lot more hits than O5, but the top hits are better in O5. So Goes both ways. What percentage of your portfolio versus Pokemon is in One Piece? At the moment, I'm still like 95% Pokemon, but want to get it up to 20%. Yeah, so shameless plug, because I guess it is December 20th already for a lot of you guys, still the 19th here. But today, on the 20th, I'll be releasing episode 2 of Cardboard Kingpin on the Poke Profit channel. And the idea behind that series is I'm trying to get to $1 million invested in TCGs. And every month I'm going to do a breakdown of what I have. So you can go look at all the numbers if you are curious. Short answer is that it's about 2 to 1 in terms of what I purchased everything for. Excuse me, what I purchased everything for. But current market price, I think it's closer to 3 to 1 Pokemon to One Piece. So whichever way you want to look at it, that's kind of the breakdown right now. And I know you didn't ask about it, but in terms of like future breakdowns, I think I'd like to keep it in that ballpark. I wouldn't want to go 50-50 Pokemon One Piece, I don't think. At least not now. Like who knows in the future, but currently like 2 to 1, 3 to 1 in that range, I think I'm happy with. I should have got more water before the stream started. This is so bad. Hi, can you talk about Luffy Leader Demo Deck Alpha, the rookie card? I I've seen the card a few times. I'm probably not the most knowledgeable person to talk about it, and that's why I tend to avoid having discussions on individual cards. Like whenever I make a video, I feel like I get educated more on cards than maybe some viewers get educated watching the videos. So I'm probably not the best person to ask, but I know that card's kind of popping off right now, right? Don't want to buy into hype though, so we'll just get in over time. Yeah, that's fine too. I I think sets like OP 14, 15, EBO 3, there's gonna be like no short-term value in them. I don't think. Like long-term, sure, but out the gate, I imagine they're gonna be a little bit overpriced. At least for what I would want to pay for them. Well, One Piece has been around since 1997. Yep, it's been around a long time. Crazy. How about Dragon Ball Z or Union Arena? I've actually I've looked into Union Arena a little bit. I I don't know. Like there's some interesting cards in there. I need to do more research. I don't really think it's a play, to be honest, at least not now. Things could change in the future. But I need to reach out to a couple contacts that know more about anime and get some expert advice on those. Dragon Ball as well is interesting. I obviously need to do more research, but I think right now One Piece is just the way better IP. But who knows? Like in the future, things change, right? You gotta be nimble and be able to adapt. What's up, Def? Thoughts about Riftbound, the League of Legends IP? Yeah, so I I talked about this really early on in the stream. I think that there's potential. The the audience that plays League would also be a lot of the same audience of people that would enjoy collecting cards, if that makes sense. So I think there's potential that it could turn into something larger. I don't know if it's ever going to be something huge because, like, sure, if you're in Asia, I get League's huge. If you're in esports, League's huge. It makes sense. But when you get outside of continental Asia, you get outside the esports bubble, League isn't like a super relevant thing. It's definitely not on the level of like One Piece or Pokemon. So it's something I'm going to watch, but it's not something I'm going to invest in. And that's not, by the way, that's not me saying that like you can't make money in it. I'm sure there's going to be people who do well in League. It's just not for me. At least not now. Did you already talk about the 32K Luffy Otisig auction? That'll be in tomorrow's video. Every Saturday, we do the sealed product singles and slabs auctions, buy it nows. I had someone message me in the Discord, which, by the way, if you guys want to join the Discord, links in the description, as always, free to join. Just don't be weird, get along in there. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about that tomorrow. I think it's an interesting sale for sure. What's up, Grayson? Outstanding live, Pedro. I appreciate it, man. I think I think personally I still have a lot of work to do to make these more entertaining. And I hope in the future I'll be able to have more people on because doing this solo is very difficult. I didn't think it was going to be this difficult, but I appreciate you being here, man. Genuinely, it means a lot. They already did one big reprint for older sets. Question is whether they thought that was a mistake or not. I mean, I doubt they think it's a mistake, right? Like, it didn't kill their game. Everything was fine. And by the way, like, they're going to have to adjust because as more people come in and want to collect, you're going to have more cards out there. That's just the reality. You're going to have more boxes because if, like, if you had the value you had in a One Piece set in Pokemon, the box would be $1,000, $2,000. And obviously, Pokemon wouldn't let that slide, right? They would print the box. So it's going to be the same in One Piece eventually. Bandai's going to have to look at these boxes and go, yeah, like out the gate, a box getting to $400 or $350 or whatever. Are they comfortable with that? I doubt it. I really don't. Like maybe in the short term, it leads to more hype, brings more people in, but I think long term that's probably not the best thing for their brand and the TCG. That would just be my gut instinct. Like I could be wrong, but I think eventually they're going to have to adjust their print runs. Yeah, as long as they fire Dragon Ball TCG Bandai, Bandai has a chance. Hey, you know what? In life, a lot of development and improvements come from failures. You look at the aviation industry, every security standard has come from an accident in the past. And I think it's hopefully the same thing for Bandai if they improve from their mistakes in all these other games, which by the way, like they've had a lot of failures. So I feel like they could learn a lot of lessons at this point. And if they have anyone who's at least semi decent at their job running the One Piece TCG, this could continue growing into a massive thing. Like they are sitting on an absolute gold mine. It's insane that more people don't realize that, and I think they realize it if I'm being honest. So I'm really hopeful that Bandai continues to do what they do. Just a little stream note, there's a slight delay between audio and your mouth moving. Also, Straw Hat Speculator often covers your mouth. Yeah, thank you. Like I noticed that too when I did like if I go to this here, right? Like it covers what I'm doing. So I will try and be cognizant of that in the future, and I can probably move my camera. The I'm curious to know if other people are having the same issue with the audio not syncing properly. That might be because I'm on a wireless connection. I'm not wired for this right now, and next time we do this, I'll plug it in directly, get my Ethernet going, and hopefully that solves it. Thank you for the feedback, by the way, Lupus. I appreciate that. That's really like the whole point of this, so that helps a ton. I see Rudy as a comedian, with just going over his core principles he always has. Yeah, I mean, Rudy's hilarious, right? But I think at the same time, the guy is super knowledgeable and he knows his shit. And not just in the TCG space, but like life in general, owning a business, finances. That's really where I think a lot of the value comes from watching Rudy. Let's see, how long have we been going here? Almost 90 minutes. Wow. And there's 125 people in here. That's insane. I feel like I should ask too, guys, if you haven't left a like on the live stream, I think we're at 2 likes right now. Leave a like. It helps a ton getting these videos and live streams pushed to more people. Appreciate you all being here, though. It's amazing. Do you know Demo Deck Alpha, the real first print of One Piece cards? Yeah, people have said that, like, whatever. First cards, real rookie cards, whatever, first print. Okay, cool. If you want to invest in those, go for it. It's the GOAT of One Piece investing. I don't think I'd call myself the GOAT, I'll be honest. I got lucky, man. It's all luck, 100% luck. But Cohen, I appreciate you being here, man. Genuinely. But again, I know nothing. All luck. I'm gonna skip over the German comments. I just don't speak German. I'm gonna have to get a mod eventually too. Advice on strategy for upcoming releases in 2026. When one can't order the pre-release, wait or buy as soon as they release. Yeah, I think like 2026, what I'm doing is I'm not going to be pre-ordering almost anything, I don't think, unless I get a really good price. I think EBO3, even OP14, what I'm seeing right now, I think it's going to be a little bit too expensive out the gate for my liking, but we'll see. I could be really wrong about that. EBO3, though, I think is going to be obviously very expensive. Going into OP16, who knows? And then I imagine we're going to get PRBO3. Like, if I get a really good pre-order, I'll probably buy that. Even months in advance, I might pre-order PRBO3. That might be the one exception to my rule. We'll see though. Hi Greason, glad to see you live streaming. Would you be selling OPO3 right now if you had a position? Uh First of all, thank you for tuning into the live stream. I appreciate it. OPO3, yeah, I probably would sell some for sure. Like I'm a really big believer now in schmuck insurance. So if you have, say, 10 boxes, sell 5, keep 5, sell 8, keep 2, whatever. OPO3, like maybe you want to keep a little bit just to see what happens next year once they rotate out if there's another spike. I think a lot of that's already caked in to the price of those boxes, but yeah, OPO3 I'm not really a huge fan of. But if you want to keep a little bit, great. LOL Gundam is very collectible. People didn't believe in One Piece either. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong. I've been wrong before. My general thought, and I think if you look at Google Trends and just societal trends and how they rank, Gundam is not on the same level as One Piece. But again, like who knows? It could turn into a massive TCG. We'll have to wait and see. And by the way, like this is the beauty of investing in TCGs. Like if you disagree with someone, you can absolutely go out and buy all the product and place your bets. Like I did that with One Piece. When I started making One Piece content, everybody in the Pokemon space just clowned me and said I was being dumb. And I remember the comments like, "There's no way that One Piece outperforms Pokemon ever, ever." And even before the bull run, you already had boxes in One Piece that were outperforming a lot of the Pokemon booster boxes. So it you're always gonna have people that hate and disagree, and that's fine, right? Like if you disagree with someone, place your bets where you think is gonna be the winners. That's really what it comes down to. And that's the beauty of life is we all can do different things. And whatever you choose to do is going to lead to different outcomes. So if you believe in it, go all in. Awesome. I'm a small fish, OPO1, OPO5, EBO1, OP13. Then everything arrived. Hate me for it, but tag slabs look amazing for One Piece. I would never hate you for that. I don't even mind tag. I think tag is awesome. And I think tag could play maybe even a little bit bigger of a role going forward with how BGS was bought now by collectors, right? Who knows? Maybe more people will start sending to tag. I don't think it's gonna be a huge thing, but hey, they could grow. We'll see. And I like the slabs as well. They're very simplistic. Wait, does this mean Taiwan is getting English for Asia boxes? I don't know. Someone's gonna have to confirm that because yeah, I was kind of just taking that as face value. But yeah, that'd be interesting. I know they do get a lot of Japanese stuff, but if they get more English, that'd be cool. Bandai needs to stop playing and drop a God Valley theme set. I know a lot of people have been asking about that, so I think that could be fire. I haven't got that far in the manga or anime, so you know, I can't really add too much to this conversation, but we'll see. Everyone knows OPO9 is the best set. Do we, Austin? You sure about that? Are you positive? Like, would you bet your life on that statement? Because if you wouldn't, then we got a problem. But yeah, really good set. Really good set. Boa Hancock, Chinese TR. It's really rare. Only 1 in 3 cases. Really? Are they, again, like I don't know anything about Chinese. So is a booster box case 12 boxes as well? Or how many booster boxes are in a case in Chinese? And is it the same amount of cards in a pack or whatever? Or same amount of packs in a box? So yeah, and Boa Hancock, another fairly popular character, right? Could be a play. One Piece is the GOAT. One Piece is definitely the GOAT. Definitely the greatest of all time. High, OPO6 or PRBO2 long term. PRBO2. PRBO2. Yep. I'm going to get hate for that. But yeah, PRBO2. Boa. All right. We can't be gooning, man. I know it's late. I know it's a Friday night, Saturday morning for some people, but all right. Deep breaths, deep breaths. Monk mode. Egghead Arc is on a whole other level. Holy shit. Yeah, I'm excited to get there. I'm really excited to get there. I'm almost done Wano. Maybe at the speed I'm watching things, it might take 2 weeks, but I'm hoping over the holidays I'll have a little bit more time to finish Wano and get caught up. Doesn't Bandai have a track record of printing stuff to the ground? Yeah, they have with other games for sure. In One Piece, the track record is definitely not that. So they've reprinted Romance Dawn before, Paramount War, OPO 5 got a big reprint, but it seems now they've really tried to dial in their print runs. So in other games, yes, in One Piece up to this point, they've been fairly conservative with what they've been doing. I think I'm just going to hold my sealed product forever. Hey man, I'll just say you can't take it with you, right? So at a certain point, I feel like everyone sells, but yeah, I'm definitely holding long term. OPO8 underrated? No, OPO8 is terrible. Worst set ever released. And I'll die on that hill. Yo, Unified, what's up, man? Unified is the GOAT. I appreciate you being here, bro. No, they will not reprint. They've learned their lesson with PRBO1. Hey, things are changing though, right? We are in a completely different market now than we were when that set released. So, you know, a year and a half, things change. So you never know. Late night gang, very late night. Dude, are you gonna send off that red Luffy? You gonna get it graded? And if so, are you going PSA or BGS? Personally, like I feel like if I pulled an $8,000 card raw, I would send it off to BGS and just hope I had a black label. But amazing pull. That was awesome. What do you mean you have money set aside just in case they reprint EB sets? Like being able to buy more if they reprint? Yes, exactly. So I I generally like to have somewhere between like $5,000 and $10,000 liquid at all times in my business account, just in the event that any type of reprint comes, whether it's in Pokemon or if it's in One Piece. That way I can buy stuff, right? Like just in life in general, you need to have cash at all times just in case opportunities present themselves. I feel if you're always cash strapped, you're not going to be able to jump on things when the best prices are available. So I always try and have cash ready for when things happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, right? I'm not saying that EB is going to get reprinted or whatever, but in the very unlikely event that it does, I will be ready. Bro, what do you think about all these people that shit on card investors like us? I personally am getting so sick of being ridiculed, just trying to make a bit of money. Crazy how worked up people get. I I try not to care anymore. I'll be honest. Like 22-year-old Grayson, 23-year-old Grayson would have cared a lot more than almost 30-year-old Grayson would. I realized that the the society that we're in right now, a lot of people are very unhappy with their lives. A lot of people, like more people than I think ever, right? Or at least in a very long period of time, are single. they're working more and they're not getting ahead because living is very expensive in the West now. And you're seeing the consequences of everything negative that's happening in society. And a lot of that can be seen on the internet. People getting upset, getting mad about every individual thing. And I realized that the more that I separate from that type of toxicity, the better I've been doing in life. So I empathize with people because life is incredibly difficult, especially if you haven't had help and you're from the West. Like, it's very difficult to get ahead nowadays. That's just the reality. Like, it's just unfortunate. So I understand where people are coming from, but at the same time, you can't care. You just can't care. People are gonna say what they want. Just do you at the end of the day. That's my best advice. Chat is still going crazy. We're up to 140 people in here. Holy cow, guys. Holy cow. Unbelievable. Bandai store only way for MSRP in this market? Probably. Probably. If you have one close to you, that'd be cool. I missed the chat too, sorry. If I can bring this up. Have you looked into the TCO1 treasure chest with the serial Nami? I haven't. Does it look like a good product? Are you picking some up? Maybe it's something I should do a little bit of research into. It definitely is something I should do some research into. I'm just being lazy. Yo, did you hear about OPO1 Shanks PSA 10 selling for 15K? I did not. That seems like an insane sale. Was it BGS 10 Black Label? Because PSA 10s were going for like 5, 6K, right? So I'd be shocked if it was just a PSA 10 or a pristine selling for that. Bandai doesn't reprint older sets anymore. They do targeted reprint of meta relevant or popular cards in the premium series collection PRB. Yeah, so I would agree with you, Dragonfly, that up to this point, they haven't reprinted older sets, right? Or they've done one reprint wave and they move on. But just because they've done something in the past does not mean that that trend will continue in the future. And I think that with the growing collector side of the hobby, there's going to be more pressure on Bandai to reconsider printing older sets. So I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. I just don't think that you can assume that that will continue indefinitely. Hopefully that makes sense. Or they use starter decks to include meta cards. Yeah, I like that too, by the way. Like, I think that's a great way to get things out there. I've said for a very long period of time that I'm not a fan of there being meta relevant cards that are like 40, $50 USD. I think that's insane. Like, I like the idea of the game being very accessible to people being able to build decks for a reasonable price. If someone's got to buy 4 Kuma secret rares and they're $40 each, like, that's starting to get to the point where just that card, excuse me, just that card alone, you're at like 200 Canadian, 160 USD. Like, that's getting a bit expensive for TCG, in my opinion. We're out of water too. We're gonna have to call this eventually because I am dying. Gump Brave, what's up, man? Thank you for being here. Been banging the OP drums for years. So happy to see more people joining in. That's awesome. That's awesome. Did you buy some sealed product, Gump, way back 2022, 2023? Some of the top cards. What are we working with right now? Ah, crap. Haha, Columbia. Yay. There you go, man. There you go. It's not a big deal. I'm busting your balls. Fun fact, every OP set ever released has had a higher top card than any contemporary Pokemon set. Who would have seen it coming? I don't think that that is a fact. Every OP set ever released has had a higher top card than any contemporary Pokemon. That's not true. So I mean, like, the Silver's Rayleigh manga out the gate was like $200. Same thing with the Law manga. And if you look at, I mean, I guess it depends how you define contemporary, but even going back to Sword and Shield, the Giratina was and still is a $500-600 card. The Lugia's was over 300 at its peak. In the SV era, Bubble Mew was up to $600. So definitely not every set, but a lot of the sets for sure have had insane value, like the Gear 5 manga Luffy, all the reprinted mangas in PRBO1, OPO9. So for the most part, yes, but in absolutes, no. And it's important to be very specific with our words. I pulled the Luffy Wanted poster from OP13. I'm torn about whether I should grade it or not. Man, I would grade it. Like, it just seems, if it's going to get a 10 at PSA or there's a very high probability, why not just get it graded and then double the value basically instantly? It seems kind of like a no-brainer, especially if you're in the States and it's easy to send stuff off. Hey, what do you think about double packs? I don't see a lot of supply. Greetings from France. Taking my morning coffee right now. Coffee. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Haha. From France. That's awesome. What part of France, by the way? And what do I think about double packs? I think they're fine. Like I like the idea of unmapped products. Like I don't think it's terrible. At the same time, I don't think there is display value in a double pack like there is for a booster box. So long term, I think you're better off just putting your money in booster boxes. But I know there are people in the hobby that would disagree with that, and they're very bullish on unmappable products. So it ultimately comes down to what you believe. But for me, it's not something I'm currently investing in. Great. Yeah, you're talking about the wanted post or whatever. I agree. Let's get some other people in here. Benjamin, what's up, man? What's up? How's it going? It's going great, dude. Thank you for being here. How are you doing as well? Getting tired though. We've been going for almost 2 hours, but it's a great first stream. I mean, this is way better than I thought it would go, so I'm very excited. So basically, Vegas, baby. Let's see what's going on in here. Love from China. Hey, you might be the first Chinese viewer on the channel that lives in China. 中国万岁. Watching your videos for a while. Enjoy the content. By the way, I'm going to get canceled for saying that. Holy cow, I'm going to get canceled. Oh my gosh. Okay, watching your videos for a while. Enjoy the content. Your insight and the regular updates. Keep it going. How do you think about price trends of first months of 2026? I think that things are going to be expensive going into 2026. Sealed product, cards. I imagine at some point we're going to see a lot of cards correct, maybe even some sealed product, but going into January, February, EBO3, OP14, things are going to be expensive. Dasha shishi. Shishi. My Mandarin's really bad. I got to practice that more. Too much Spanish over the past couple years, guys. Too much Spanish. No, they don't. Okay. I'm trying to avoid stuff. You guys are having a conversation in here as well. OP12 is great SPs, but people don't want the Bonnie manga. I would agree with that. I actually, the more I've looked at them, I'm a fan of the OP12 SPs. And what you have the Ace in there, and the Zoro Juro, pretty solid cards. The Bonnie SP or the Bonnie manga is not terrible either. Like it's definitely not a top hit, but it's got some value. We're getting close to what, $800 on that? What is this? Do you expect a wave 2 for OP13? Yes. Yes, I do. Arguing subjectivity is a waste of time. 100% agree. It's just whatever. Like, it's one of those useless conversations that just benefits no one. But people want to get into contests online to see who's smarter. And yeah, look, I get caught up in it sometimes too. So I'm not saying that I'm, an angel, but the older I get, the more I try and avoid that sort of stuff. Yo, that's a good deal for your PRBO2. I agree. I just, look, it was something I bought as a favor for a friend. And if I have to hold it, I'll hold it. But if someone wants it for that price, like 100%, give them a good deal. No problem. If you're in Canada, e-transfer, get it off the next day. It's no big deal. Hey, legit cases. I ripped an EBO2 from my distro and hit manga. That's awesome. That's awesome, Ian. That's amazing. I'm jealous. Are you gonna get it graded? It'll go good with the gold Luffy that you picked up. Thoughts on OP14? It's a decent set. It's gonna be somewhere in the middle, I think. Maybe even towards the bottom half of sets. that Bandai has released. I don't know. That might be an unpopular opinion. I like some of the SPs. I like buggy cards, obviously, but in terms of value, I just don't think it's going to be up there. And I think it's going to be a little bit more expensive than it should be out the gate, just because of the market we're in. I'm going to try and catch up with the chat or do a little bit better of a job here. EBO2 is tragic. Would not recommend opening. I agree. I opened a couple booster boxes and I pulled the alt Nami, I think was my best hit. And then maybe a chopper. So yeah, it was tough. Why don't you like Asia boxes? For Asia boxes, considering you mentioned they're essentially the same product. I don't not like for Asia boxes. I think honestly, like if we're being real, in the future, I would not be surprised if the gap closes to like 5% difference between the North American release and the for Asia release. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone makes a huge gamble on for Asia product and it pays off long term. Because I think right now a lot of the difference in price comes down to education and people not knowing that there is no difference. So in the future, I think it could absolutely close. The only reason I want to move that case is because I bought it with the intention of selling it right away. So that's the reason why. Point of OP13 is as much for acceleration to get global release simultaneous as to be a standalone set, hence why it's different in Japan. Okay. Yeah. The simultaneous release will be interesting this year. Or next year, I guess, 2026. Should have kept it sealed. SP is 2 per case, and that makes them worth an investment as single. Leader AA are 4 per case, which is higher pull rate than SP, but still higher tier than regular AA. Do you think they're underrated? I'm gonna be honest, like a lot of the leader alt arts are very boring to me. I look at them and I just don't think they're super interesting cards to look at. I get the rarity aspect and argument, so that's cool, but it's not something that I would be investing in. But that's just me. Again, if people disagree, awesome. I got only 2 One Piece items, OPO1 Blue Bottom and first anniversary set. That's all. Wish I got more, but life happened. Love your content. Loco Boy, I appreciate you being here, man. And, in terms of the sealed products that you bought, a Blue Bottom and the first anniversary, assuming you didn't buy them in the past like 60 days, you've probably done very well on those. So that is amazing as well. Those are some great investments. When you sell, are you selling on eBay, meetups, etc.? So nowadays, most of the product I sell is through Facebook. If I do want to sell something, I'll just put it in a national group or provincial group up here in Canada. And I only accept EMT. I'm lucky now. I'm at a point where with having the YouTube channels and having enough references, it's very easy to even do like 3, 5, $10,000 deals through EMT. And if people don't know what EMT is, it's electronic money transfer up here in Canada. It's like bank to bank, and they're non-refundable, right? So I know a lot of people they take PayPal goods and services. I took PayPal goods and services once, and someone paid with a credit card, and they opened a chargeback through their credit card, and it was a massive pain to deal with that. And for that reason, I don't do it anymore, even though I know that that is an incredibly rare thing that's probably never going to happen again. But yeah, I mainly sell through Facebook now. I almost never sell anything locally just because I'm in the boonies, very small town here in the Kootenays. So there's just not a lot of people buying One Piece. But if you're in a bigger city center like Vancouver, Toronto, anywhere in the States or wherever you are in the world, that could be a good option. And then eBay as well is fine. Like if you're starting out, eBay is a very easy way to move product because if you want to sell in Facebook groups, you got to build up your reputation. Like you can sell things, but it's definitely way easier if you have that reputation. So eBay is fine as well. Big fan of that. Thoughts on upcoming EBO3? I've been saying it from the beginning. I think EBO3 is overrated. I think it will be a great set. There's some solid cards in there. Like the Boa SP, the Nami, the Nico Robin, those are going to be expensive cards, especially the Boa. The Uta SP or the Uta Manga, excuse me. I think it's going for about 850 $900 in a 10 in Japanese. So I think in English it'll probably be similar to the Jewelry Bonnie manga. I think it'll be in that range. I I don't know though. Like 250 out the gate, 300 wherever it's going to be. I think I'll say this now. Like if it's sub $200 at release, I'll be shocked. And if it's sub 200, I could get boxes at that price. I'll probably pick some up, but I think it's going to be a lot more difficult to get considering the market we're in. Just my guess. I feel OP14 may be decent because of EBO4 being part of it. That's true. That's something we haven't brought up yet, Riley. That's a good point. I think it I don't know for sure like what cards are going to be in OP14 from EBO4. I read something online. It was going to be like blue, purple, green, maybe. So like the Zoro SP maybe is going to be in there. I'm not sure though if that's just someone talking out their ass or if that's confirmed. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see the breakdown. And by the way, if that info's out and I'm just, behind and I don't know where it is, definitely feel free to let me know. Link it in the Discord or something. By looking at older sets, what would be the next anniversary set? OP17, presumably. And that's why a lot of people were jumping on pre-orders when Hobbiesville did it this week. So yeah, OP17, be on the lookout. But again, that's not 100% confirmed. We can also infer that the pre-order window makes reprints very difficult. Only OP01 and 05 have really gotten it. Yeah, but again, like I've been saying this the whole time, like things could change in the future. So we'll have to wait and see. We've been going for an hour 51, so maybe another 8 minutes, guys. Close it around 2 hours here. With sealed boxes being unsealed at Bandai stores, this will create less supply overall because people will be ripping. Yeah, a little bit for sure. I don't mind them doing that. It's fine. Uh, what do you think is a better investment? Sets you can still get at MSRP like OP12 or top sets that are above MSRP like OP13. I Okay, I'll answer this shortly. Short term, sets like OP12 are probably the better play. Long term, like 5 years, I think it's still going to be your OP13, just based on current prices. What's next to move from 06, 07, 8, 10, 12? 12, I think, obviously. That would be my guess. It will depend, like, on reprints. I actually had someone comment about a week ago, maybe, like 3 or 4 days ago, saying that they got an OP12 restock at their LGS, like they're an owner or something. So I don't know if there actually is more boxes hitting distro and getting to these stores, but to me, OP12 is a better set than anything listed there between 6, 7, 8, 10, 12. So in my mind, it would make sense for 12 to move, even though it is the newer set. Do you think buying a case of OP05 is a good idea? I mean, it depends on how large of a position you're building. Like if you're building only a 10, $20,000 position, I don't think it's worth it. No, I think you'd have to be building a much larger position at this point to make it worthwhile. Sorry for spamming, dude. Never apologize for that at all. Like no worries. You're passionate. That's amazing. That's kind of what these live streams are for, right? For them to be interactive. And I'm just trying to get to everyone too, right? Like I brought up a lot of your messages, which is amazing. Like it's not a bash to you, but we're planning to close this out probably in like 10 minutes. So I'm trying to see if there's anyone new who's commented as well. And I don't know how far behind. I don't think I'm super far behind, but I've just been trying to catch up. And yeah, starred. Oh my, holy cow, guys! I didn't realize there's been like 7 super chats, and I've just been. Oh my god. Okay, so in StreamYard, I've been looking at the real chat and I didn't realize there was like this starred page that has all the super chats. So let me go through these first because some of you guys have probably been waiting a while. Do you think buying and sorry by the way, like for first live stream there's some kinks to be worked out, but I appreciate you guys being here. Do you think buying an OPO5 is a good idea, 7.5K? Um, okay, so I see the MX, which I imagine is Mexican pesos. So first of all, gracias for the super chat. Is that in pesos for like one box? Like, am I just delusional with the currency exchange? Or are you referring to a case of booster boxes at 7.5K? I'm going to assume you're referring to a case at 7.5K USD, which in that case, I'll say it depends on the position you're building, right? So I kind of just said this. If you're only building a $10,000 to $20,000 position, probably not worth it at this point. If you're looking to build a $100,000, $200,000 position in One Piece and TCGs, at that point it might still be worth it in my eyes. So it's going to come down to you and how much you're willing to invest into One Piece. What do you think about grading with tag? I think that people should grade wherever they want their cards to be graded. Like if you're planning to keep them, I like the tag slabs. I'm one of those weird people that enjoys them. In terms of liquidity, if you're planning to sell, I would probably still go with PSA just because the gem rates on a lot of these One Piece cards are 85 to 90%. You have a very good chance of getting a 10, and there's still massive premiums on a lot of these cards where if you're getting them for $100 raw, they're probably going to go for somewhere between 180 to 200, maybe even more than that in a 10. So I think grading with PSA, if you're planning to sell them, is the best. Now, if it's a top end manga or something, maybe at that point, BGS is worth it, especially if a card's like super minty and you think it has a chance at a black label. Even if you get a BGS 10 pristine, you're going to have a premium over the PSA 10. Normally, that's what we've been seeing now. So, yeah, I think it depends on your situation, but that's hopefully a good enough answer for that. Jeff just donated $1. Appreciate you, Jeff. Oh, you put another message here. So thank you for the super chats, by the way. I appreciate it. Could Silver and Gold Luffy SP be the Charizard? So are you referring to like a base set Charizard, like first edition, kind of like the card in Pokemon? I think in One Piece, it's probably going to be the. I mean, Gold and Silver Luffy are based on the '05 Luffy, but I think the original Gear 5 manga is one of those cards, right? That's amazing. Like, first Luffy manga, most popular character in the anime, main character. That would be the one, like, if I had to do comparison, but I don't really know if there's going to be like a Charizard card in One Piece, if that makes sense. Like, I'm sure some people would argue the like super pre-release, maybe even that card, or the Shanks manga. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. I would say the Gear 5 Luffy from OPO5 is going to be one of those that a lot of people want, but I know there's varying opinions on that. Are you invested in I'm going to say majority in singles or sealed? All sealed. Basically 100%. The only graded card I have is this law manga that I pulled. So I don't even consider that part of my investments because I'm not planning to sell it. And then from time to time, I'll have singles just because I'll open a booster box or a sleep pack or whatever, and I'll have a couple on hand. But in terms of pure investments, it's 100% sealed product. I've always stuck with the sealed product because it's what I know best. It's deflationary. And like I've said numerous times now, I don't think I'm smart enough to pick the winners and losers consistently. And that's why I stick with sealed product. And then finally, potatoes donating $5. Thank you. There's no message there. I should check the chat, but I appreciate you being here. And that's amazing. Thank you so much. And then I guess we're going to go through this again and see some of these super chats. But I'm glad we're caught up on those. I should try and figure out a better way to get these to show up in the chat. That's something I'll work on next time. What's the case? If we bring this up, what's the case status that you own right now? I see them in the back, but I can't read them all. So at the bottom, we have an OPO 12 case on the bottom. Then we have two OP11s, two OPO9s, two EBO2s, two OP13s, And then up top, we have two PRBO2 cases, one being the North American release and one being for Asia. And that's what we have for cases. And then you can see up here, we have some loose boxes as well. We have the EBO1s, the OPO5, the blue bottom, and then behind the blue bottom, there's some white bottoms, O9, OP13, then a couple loose boxes of like OP12 or 10 or something. Like I have a few other less interesting boxes behind those. And that's all we got for now. But I'll put out a couple shorts in the coming days so some of you guys can get a better look at that. I feel bad for people who are buying OPO5 at the top when they sell it at the Bandai store. So, yeah, I mean, first of all, I think we probably are not going to see a lot of short-term growth on OPO5, but long-term, I still am very bullish on those booster boxes. So, it's something where if people are getting in, they see the long-term vision. It's not really something I would worry about. And then also, not everyone has access to Bandai stores, right? So where I'm at, I don't even think there's a store in Canada. I mean, maybe there's one, but definitely none near me. So if you live near one and you can go and you can get boxes, like if you're in New Jersey or Germany or wherever else they have them, amazing, right? But just know that not everyone has that available to them. So that's why people are forced to pay market. What's up, Grayson? Listen to you every day. Bought into OP13 when it was under $200. I pulled a jewelry bonding manga from an OP12 booster box. Can I send it to tag for a slab, or would you suggest PSA? First of all, thank you for being here and amazing. Congrats on the poll. I would say it depends on what you want to do with your card. So if you want to hold it and you prefer the look of a tag slab, go with tag. I think that's absolutely fine. If you're trying to sell the card, I would probably go with PSA. That would be my guess. But I guess now that I think about it too, like you should probably factor in turnaround time because I think for PSA it's getting up there. So, if it really doesn't make that huge of a difference, like I think there's probably going to be a small premium on the PSA compared to the tag. I could be wrong about that too, but that would just be my guess. I would imagine that the PSA slab would sell for a little bit more, but if you're gonna have to wait an extra like 30, 60, whatever X amount of days to get your card back, it might be worth going with tag. So it depends for sure. Romance Dawn OPO5 is Evolving Skies, if anything, maybe O9, but probably not. I think OP13 is the Evolving Skies of One Piece. OP13 is better than the Evolving Skies. OP13, by the way, I did a video on the Poke Profit channel showing this. The top 10 value, and this is what gets me very excited about a set like OP13 and even some of the other top sets in One Piece. The top 10 value in OP13 was higher than Evolving Skies and Team Up top 10 value combined. Combined, guys. And this is a booster box that's worth $300, $330 currently. Evolving Skies is selling for like 2.1K. Team Up's currently averaging about 8.6K on eBay based on the past 14 days. So you're talking about boxes that at minimum are 2.1K up to 8.6K. And people are getting upset that OP13 out the gate's like $300. Yeah, like it makes sense to me why that box is where it is currently. So yeah, I think OP13 is just crazy. Unreal set. And it's going to be difficult for Bandai to top that in the future too. But I wouldn't put it past them either. I've low-key been holding my PSA 10 Bully saying? Is that Bolsalino? Like, am I just dyslexic? Or is this something else? I don't know what character that is or card. Hopes to trade for a Whitebeard or Robin manga. I really don't know what this is. Sorry, I can't answer it. How long is the delay? Lol. I'm guessing. Oh, maybe it's bad. Like, I didn't even realize that there was a delay on this. Is there? This is not good. That's something I'll have to look into. I will chat GPT that. I hope there's not a delay, but I imagine there probably is, and that's going to be awkward to watch back. Will OP14 times EBO4 mixed? Yeah, I think they're going to be mixed, right? EB14 is being split into OP14, OP15, I believe. I'm so close to completing my collection of one piece of every main set, one box of every main set, not one piece. I'm only missing OPO5, which is kind of a bummer. Might pick up when I can afford it. Hey man, you're super close. So yeah, when you got the budget for sure, it sounds like you're being smart about it. A lot of people would overspend, spend outside their means, but it seems like you got a solid head on your shoulder. So hopefully you can get that box sooner rather than later. I'm saving up for the future. Everything I earn will go all into a God Valley set if there will be one in the future. Hopefully. Hopefully one's coming up. Edgar, what's up, man? Been watching a lot of your videos. So hard to keep up sometimes. Thank you for watching the videos. And yeah, it's tough. It's a crazy market to keep up with for sure. Things are moving at rapid speed. How bad of an idea would it be to sell some prismatic and put that money into One Piece? The way Pokemon's printing prismatic, probably not even that bad of an idea, but yeah, I don't know. I think that all jokes aside, going into 2026, prismatic I think is going to pick up. Like I would be shocked if Pokemon continues to print prismatic at the rate they've been printing it. I just don't see them doing that. I think they have to start focusing on Destin Rivals, Mega, all these other things. How much for shipping to Toronto? I'm down to take your PRBO too. Shoot me a message on Discord, but it should be like $30 base, and that would be tracking, shipping, or excuse me, tracking, signature, and like $100 of insurance coverage. If you wanted extra insurance, it's probably going to be like $2.50 for every $100 of coverage. So if you want extra coverage, it'd be more, but I think I could probably get it shipped for around $30. And that would be like double box and everything too. I'm not going to just slap a label on it. I'm not psychotic like that. I know this is for OP, but how do you feel about Gundam? I bought one box of New Type Rising just to have a little bit of exposure, but I don't think Gundam's going to be as big as One Piece. That's just my guess. I don't think it's going to be around. I mean, maybe it sticks around. Who knows? I don't think it's even close to the level of One Piece or Pokemon, so it's probably not something I want to invest in. What do you think is a better investment? Sets you can still get it. Oh, I feel like I already answered that. And I did say I believe short-term OP12 and then long-term OP13. What's the top sets you're investing in? So the top sets I've invested in, because currently I'm not really buying too much. I just bought some more OP11 from Hobbiesville because they're at like 300 Canadian. That's the cheapest you can find it in Canada currently. Or maybe Enter the Battlefield's at like 290, but uh, Hobbiesville's around 300 and a couple other stores are there too. The top sets I've invested in are OP13, OP9, OP11, EBO2. I have two cases of all of those. And then PRBO2, I have a couple cases technically, but I'm probably going to end up moving one. So yeah, I'd say those are the big positions. And then also I have a decent amount of OPO5. And then just in terms of like dollar amount, I have a decent amount into Romance Dawn just because I have the blue bottom and a couple of the white bottoms. Straw Hat Speculator, how would you go about selling a blue bottom? I'm super tempted to sell it. Uh, so I would just go through Facebook and I would list high and just sit on it, and try and do a local deal. I know for me, like I could just ask for EMT and I'd sure like if I was selling to someone who knew me, they would pay through EMT. It's not a big deal. For someone like you could also do eBay. I know a lot of people they get nervous about selling high dollar items on eBay. But I will just say this, as someone who's sold collectibles on eBay worth thousands of dollars before, even to like new sketchy buyers from like China and other parts of the world, I have way less issues selling high dollar items than I do selling low dollar items. And that's normally because people who want to scam, they can't afford to buy a $5,000 item realistically, right? So it could happen, there's always the potential. I'm not saying that you're 100% guaranteed to be immune to that sort of thing, but it's not something you should worry about. And as long as you document your whole process, it's unproblematic. Even if you have an issue, eBay should side with you. So yeah, eBay, Facebook, those are good ways to go about it. Or also, by the way, you could just, I forgot this, if you're in the States or even in Canada, a lot of these consignment services now, like now that Probstein's back on eBay, like your rate's what, 95% payout, 98. I don't even know exactly what it is. Probably not 98, like 96 or something, but there's a few very large consignment services where you get amazing rates, like better than what you could get. So that's also an option if you're willing to go that route. I know some people are uncomfortable with that, but that's probably the best way to get max ROI. Best place to pre-order EBO3 in Canada. I don't know, man. If you find a place, let me know. I saw that Game Shack had put up their, someone had linked it in Discord. They had put up the listing, but they haven't put up the actual pre-order yet. So keep an eye on that. I'm sure a lot of the stores at once will start putting up their boxes around the same time. I've been actually reach out. I know the owner of Cardboard Hero, and he's a pretty chill dude. So I've been meaning to text him and just ask about what the word is from distro. Which OP set is going to be the next anniversary set? Probably OP 17, presumably, right? But things could definitely change in the future. Cases should be worth more as A. 12 boxes are a lot relatively. They stay intact far less than Pokemon. And two, hits are defined by case. Yeah, so I agree. Like case premium should definitely be a thing in One Piece for sure. EBO3 is a hotter set than OP14. Agreed. I don't think that's a super hot take. Do a video on Asia exclusive cards. I could do that. I don't think it would do super well, right? And I, it's unfortunate, but making videos, I try and make videos that I think people are normally gonna watch, like a wide audience would watch. I try and avoid the more niche stuff because it generally tends to do worse in terms of views. So maybe in the future we could include it in like a larger video, hopefully. Hopefully that makes sense. What's up, Grayson? Pack Hype Collective. Appreciate you being here. By the way, guys, if there is a delay, like let me know, like how long it is. Like I'm currently saying this at 11:30 p.m. PST. So if it's like 1 minute, 2 minute, five, I don't know. Like in StreamYard, there was nothing to say that there was a delay. So I'm hoping there isn't, but who knows? Maybe I was getting trolled. Maybe I'm not. And if I'm not getting trolled and there is a delay, it's something that I'll try and turn off for the next time we go live. That's the whole point of the test stream, baby. To get that stuff sorted out. OP premium boxes and illustration boxes are very different. Premium boxes have like 6 month pre-order window. Illustration boxes are available at big box. Yep. Bro is live. OMG. Mats, what's up, man? Appreciate you being here. What's the difference between the cases that have green tape and the cases that have clear tape? Yeah, so the green tape cases, at least in English, are the for Asia distribution cases. And the clear tape would be your North American or European release. Now, I think Japanese too, there's different colors as well. I don't really know what's going on there, but in English, like the green tape, that's going to be your for Asia stuff. Exact same cards though, by the way. Like the only difference is it's green tape instead of clear, and then on the box you're going to have a stamp that says for Asia, whereas the North American European release doesn't. But exactly the same cards. Would OP13 get wave 3? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen there? I have no clue. It's going to be interesting to see going into 2026 what Bandai ultimately decides when it comes to their print waves. Is the delay like 10 minutes? Dude, I hope it's not. Like I feel like out the gate it wasn't that bad, but who knows? Who knows? Someone's going to let me know in the comments for sure, and it'll be something I'll fix in the future. Do you think Bandai will increase the print runs going forward with the massive increase in popularity? I think so. I mean, it's going to get to a point where they have to, right? And who knows, like maybe it's going to be OP17 or OP21, but if the collecting side of the hobby continues to grow, they're going to have to increase their print runs. Yeah, there is a big delay. Okay, so that's something I'll work on. If someone can let me know, like I did the timestamp thing, so if we can dial it in, like I'll figure it out with StreamYard. I'm sure there's just a feature that I'm not clicking on. I have Gold Luffy 3rd Anniversary, Ace Wanted Demon Pack, and Luffy OP13 SP. What do I sell? What do I keep? I'm probably not the person to ask for this, man, because I'm super biased, but uh I'm a lot less bullish on the demon cards than other people. The Luffy OP13 SP, Ace Wanted, and the Gold Luffy 3rd Anniversary. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably be keeping the Gold Luffy if it wasn't like a massive portion of my portfolio. Ace Wanted poster, same sort of deal. I'd probably be selling the Luffy SP from OP13, Demon God pack. Those would be the first two ones I sell, but I think a lot of it depends on your outlook on One Piece, how large of a position you're building, because the Gold Luffy is a massive card. So if that's like 40, 50%, 100% of your portfolio almost, probably something worth selling at this time. Let's see if there's any people in here. Do you personally play any TCGs? One Piece is genuinely the most fun card game I've ever played. I don't. I have thought about it, and it's funny. The reason why is because when I started my channel, and even still to this day, there are a lot of people that come in and they want to bash me because I don't know every single thing about One Piece and because I'm an investor and I get called scalper all the time, whatever. It's funny, but I just thought it would be great content if I recorded myself learning the game for like 6 months or a year and I got really good and went to like regionals and then nationals and just grinded my way up. I have thought about doing that just as a meme kind of, but I think it'd be too much work, honestly. And I don't think I could actually get that good without dedicating a ton of time to it. And I just don't know. I don't know if I have those hours either. So, yeah. But maybe I'll play casually at some point in the future. But for now, no. One Piece is very fun to play. I've had a lot of people say that, so that's awesome. If you enjoy it, amazing. It's all that matters. Out of OP06, OP07, 08, 10, 12 booster boxes, I've answered that as well. OP12, by the way, was the one I said. And then I feel like there's new here because this is now start. I'm looking at the super chats, by the way, guys, and I'm just trying to make sure that I haven't missed any. Tag with grading. Bring this up. View on OP13 blisters, Manga Roger, or Gear 5 Luffy. First of all, Anthony, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. View on OP13 blisters. Um, Again, just blisters in general. I think that I like to stay away from. Generally, in TCGs, again, generally, we got to drive that home. There's always going to be outliers, but for the most part, booster boxes outperform in the long run and they're also way easier to move, right? If you want to sell the same amount of product, you're going to have to sell 24 blisters compared to one booster box. And a lot of people who are fans of sleeve blisters, they haven't actually sold a lot of sleeve blisters before and realized that you have to invest a lot of time normally because it's not like one person's going to be buying 24 sleeve blisters from you. Um, Manga Roger Gear 5 Luffy, probably Gear 5 Luffy. I know the pop is way higher than the Roger, but what an iconic card. So that's what I would say. But again, like if you're buying sleeve blisters of OP13 at retail right now, it's probably like 50% of market value. So there's huge arbitrage there in the short term. Where if you have a way to offload them, like you're selling to a rip and ship, if you're selling them on eBay or something like that, kind of seems like a no-brainer. But at the same time, like also I don't really condone buying product from Walmarts and stuff, like buying out everything. If I buy something from Walmart, I'll buy max one thing, or if it's sleeve blisters, like a couple, and that's normally just because I want to rip the product, right? So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. And then down here we have Eduardo. Do you think OP11 could be a good investment? Yep, I do. I think that just when I look at prices, it's probably one of the better values right now. I'm not saying it's the best, but I have a couple cases. Big fan of OP11, and I think that long term it's going to do very well. It's not an S tier set for sure. You have amazing top chases, but not the depth that you would expect in an S tier set like OP13 or even OP09. So I have a little bit, and I'm holding on to that. Thank you for the second super chat as well, by the way. I appreciate you. Wow, we have so much chat here, guys. This is crazy. Like I there's still 130 people in here. We've been going 2.5 hours almost. And I said I was gonna cut it off like 20 minutes ago. So we're definitely gonna have to start doing this more often. 100%. And by the way, guys, like if you're watching and there's any recommendations you have to make the stream better, like audio's off. I know some people have said the delay. Thank you for pointing that out. These are all things I'm going to try and improve upon for the next time. So, any recommendations at all, be absolutely ruthless because that's going to help just make things better in the future. So, thank you all for being here again. Really do appreciate it. Honestly, I have a big bag of amazing cards and think we'll stay with that investment. What should happen already happened. Yeah, I mean, I think that we could still see some corrections on cards. That would just be my opinion. But if you're happy with what you have, you're holding it, amazing. Amazing. The difference with One Piece and Pokemon is that in One Piece, from a player's standpoint, they just reprint cards in PRB. I don't see why they would reprint older sets. Right. So this is definitely a common belief amongst people who play the game, and that's fine. Like I think it's a good way for Bandai to get cards in circulation and bring the price down of playable cards, but you have to remember too, right, that the collecting side in One Piece is growing. That's not a contentious issue, I believe. Maybe some people are biased and disagree with that, or maybe I'm just too biased and it's not actually growing, but if the collecting side continues to grow, which I believe it's going to get to a point where Bandai has to address the rising booster box price. Because if they only do one print run and it's the same print run size as they've been doing all along, they don't grow it at all, you're going to have boxes that run up to $600, $700, $800 eventually, maybe a year or less after release. Like if they didn't reprint OP13 and the collector base grows over the next 12 to 24 months, it's easily going to be $1,000 plus booster box one day. Easily. Like it could be a $2,000-$3,000 box. That would not surprise me. And again, I'm not trying to be super bullish and say that's going to happen the next 12 to 24 months, but that is something that could happen, right? And you have to bring up all these possibilities. So I think in the future, if the collecting side keeps growing, they will have to address it. That's just my opinion. If you disagree, absolutely fine. I don't know if I should buy an OPO5 for 7.5K. Yeah, I mean, if it was USD, like I said, it depends on your position size. If you're only going for like a 15, 20K position, it's just going to be too large of a percentage, I think, to make it worth it. Here's the thing about Dragon Ball. The hits weren't that different. They're just called alt art special rares. They weren't cool enough. That definitely could play a role for sure. Um, from which OP? Thank you, bro. I'm imagining that's a message you guys are having in the comment section. Do you like OP14? I think it's okay. I think it's just going to be a bit too expensive at release. That's just my opinion. No delay with audio. That's good. I mean, someone earlier said there was a little bit of a delay, but if a lot of people are saying there isn't, that's good. I will check too. Like, I'm going to rewatch the entire stream and take notes and stuff. So in the future, hopefully everything's better. But if you have any other recommendations, Holy, definitely leave a comment under the video or another message in the live chat, whatever. Appreciate you being here. Audio is fine. Amazing. Glad to hear. But if there's any small thing too, right? Like I really want to dial this in and make it an enjoyable experience for people. And this is like, I showed it early on, but this is just a Blue Yeti. So it's not a super expensive USB mic. And I bought a SM7DB earlier this year because that's like the best dynamic mic. Everyone uses it for whatever reason. Like I'm sure my room is just not treated properly and perfectly. I don't have a rug down. Like you can see the walls behind me aren't treated. My voice is also really deep. So for me, that mic didn't work. That's why I'm trying to condenser, but just trying to, work through things, make it better. If we get better a little bit every single day, it adds up over the years, guys. Do you think rotation will kill the old One Piece sets? I don't. I think that the I think the collecting side of the hobby is growing, and that's great. And if it continues to grow, there's going to be less and less of those boxes out there as more people try and chase those cards, right? So yeah, that's what we're going with right now. I love OP a lot. I like OP as well. I think it's a good investment for sure. Let's see. Before the hype, I'm into this. Let's do it. I finally caught the live stream. Yeah, I mean this is the first one that I've done on my channel. I did the one with Chuck last week. Chuck's a chill dude. I appreciate him having me on, and I'm hoping in the future, once we dial in everything and do a little bit more practice, that I can start interviewing people, because I've worked with so many incredible people this year, and even some people I haven't worked with. There's tons of people I want to interview in the space, and I think it could make for great content, and just giving the opportunity to some people who maybe don't have a voice yet, that have really good knowledge, at least in my opinion. So lots of content coming, guys, in 2026. My PC says 40 likes, probably not updated. Yeah, hopefully there must be like a huge chat delay on this, or I don't know what's going on, because that was actually, maybe not, because I opened YouTube right now and it just brought up your message. Wow, maybe there isn't a delay. Am I getting trolled? I have to be getting trolled. This can be great to watch back, but yeah, 40 likes. Get that up, guys. Come on. If we have 110 people in here, should easily be at like 70. Okay, let's see. 51? We're up to 51? Or are you saying 51st state? Canada? Let's make it happen. I mean, I'm down at this point. Again, not to get political, but 10 years of liberals. It's been an interesting roller coaster up here. Definitely, look, taxes in general in Canada, like, putting aside politics, like whatever side you're on, like you get hit hard in Canada, right? And I'm grateful we have our TFSAs. Like that's such a good investing perk we get as Canadians. But outside that, man, whew, you get hit hard. Like my tax bill this year is going to be insane, much higher than anything I've ever done. Thank you, my man, John. I appreciate you being here. I have to thank you. Like, if people don't watch the streams, they don't watch the videos. I'm not able to do what I'm currently doing, so I'm incredibly grateful to everyone who's here watching. OPTCG is surprisingly fun to play. That's great. Like if you love playing it, awesome. That's amazing. How do you recommend someone get their toes into One Piece now that prices are so high? I Again, it depends on your position size. Like I've been working with a couple people recently who are looking to build six-figure positions, and for them, I've I've still recommended buying some '09, some '05, and then having some money put aside if a correction comes, if a reprint comes, buy more. For someone who's building a much smaller position, I would probably go with sets like OP12 right now. Again, like I think that's a fairly middle of the road set. You have decent value there, almost $10,000, or excuse me, almost $3,000 in top 10 value, which is kind of like borderline in my opinion. So keep an eye on that set. It's about $120 a box. You could maybe even find it a bit cheaper than that if you're on Facebook or in Europe or Asia. So that's probably one of the sets that I'd be buying right now. If you wanted to buy something a little bit more expensive, maybe OP11 is a decent play. I think that's fine. Things like '06, that's getting up there in price. 7, 8, 10, those are a little bit cheaper, but just not the strongest sets in my opinion. So yeah, 12, and then if you want to get a little bit more expensive, probably 11. And then by the way, like have money on the sidelines, and if reprints come, that's gonna be your opportunity to pull the trigger. And you could, now that I'm thinking about it, you could just buy like one box of OP13 or a case right now, and then if a reprint comes, you buy 3 to 4x that and make a much larger position. So yeah, all of those options for sure. It just depends on how much money you're willing to invest in the hobby. I'm about to get my Kikunojo cards signed by the Japanese voice actor. That's amazing. That's awesome. Are you doing that in Japan or in North America, or where? I'm guessing there's like a collecticon or something. Very cool. The Luffy Dodger card is what I've been debating. Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. Like, we talked about that a lot when the World Series was going on, and it shot up in price. It's an Oda illustration card. It's a Luffy. It's a Dodgers promo. I know someone in my comments is trying to, like, one of their goals is to get a Otani and Oda signature on that card, which is amazing. Like, if they could pull that off and get it graded, that would be just such an amazing piece of history. So yeah, there's definitely plays there for sure. I'm keeping an eye on the Dodgers Luffy. Let's see. Chat's just going crazy, guys. I'm super grateful, but at the same time, I definitely was not prepared for it to be this bumping. I thought there's gonna be like 4 people in here, honestly. I think EBO3 is a cop. Yeah, for sure. Like, you have to get a little bit, in my opinion. I still think it's overrated. I'm gonna stick to that, whatever, but it's gonna be a good set. Just not an S tier set like a lot of people think it will be. Did you see the OP1 Shanks manga selling? Someone said this too. Yeah, and I was wondering if it was PSA or if it was BGS or a black label. So if it's PSA, that's insane. My gut instinct though is that it was a Probstein auction. And if I'm wrong about that, that's wild, but 15K. It was going for 6K like 2 weeks ago. Insane. Insane. I can't imagine it's going to stay at that level. I can't, but who knows? We'll probably look at that tomorrow, or I guess today, right? Because we're already it's almost 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. PST as well. We're going deep here, guys. But yeah, that'll be in today's video when we do all the auction updates. How do you feel about Japanese exclusive promos like Magazine Luffy and One Piece Day Luffy's? Look, like I don't invest in singles, but I know some people are going to do very well with those. Exclusive artworks in general, it kind of nullifies the language argument just because if that's the only way you can get the card, those could definitely be decent plays in the future. So if you like the character, you like the artwork, it's a fairly low pop card. So then maybe like the Shonen Jump magazine promo's not the best one in my opinion, but if all the factors line up and it looks decent, then yeah, it could be a decent play for sure. Can't rule anything out, guys. Like when you're investing, you have to be nimble. You have to go with the flow and be ready to adapt and change your view on things because just in life, people get so hard stuck in their ways, and the reality is a lot of the time, what we believe is false. And if you can, change your mind on certain things, you're gonna be more productive and probably benefit from it in the future. That's just the reality. What? 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 Are you sure, James? I'm guessing you guys are having a conversation here. I shouldn't even bring those up. Hey man, love your content. I pulled an SP Bonnie from OPO8. Do you reckon it's worth holding raw or risk getting it graded for long-term investment? First of all, appreciate you, Jeremy, watching the content. That's amazing. Congrats on the poll. Long-term investment, I mean, you might as well just get it graded, right? Because, well, short term, you could see things dropping. So, yeah, you could go either way with it. I don't think it's terrible, but the reality is if you get it graded, it comes back at 10, you're up 100%. So, it's probably worth sending off for grading, in my opinion. Gundam is niche. No one watches it right now in the West. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like maybe it's more popular in Asia, but over here in the West, it's just not huge. Hmm. Let's see. So many messages, guys. Crazy. Thank you so much for the support. And by the way, if I miss your message, I apologize. I'm just trying to get through all the new ones we haven't seen. Bro, One Piece is going to change TCG. Hopefully. Hopefully. I don't think it's ever going to be as big as Pokemon. Realistically, like there's nudity and violence in it, so you're never going to be able to capture the same audience that Pokemon does just because there's lots of kids that like Pokemon and parents don't want their kids watching that or engaging with it, which is fine until they get older, but I think the generation coming up right now, they're probably going to be much more interested in One Piece than Pokemon. At least, yeah, that's just my gut feeling. Could be wrong about that though, who knows. Either way, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with One Piece. I would say extra boosts are better than PRB. PRBL1 was an anomaly with a god pack of manga. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think it depends on the set and the cards inside too. Like PRBO2, in my opinion, is underrated. You have a legit manga card in there. The Sanji's 1.7, 1.8k raw. You have all the gold dawns. I think there's a god pack, right? For the gold dawns as well, and maybe even the alt arts. And some of those, like the Nami, the Shanks, are great. The manga event rares, the Gum Gum Giants, $600 plus at this point. Some of those SPs, the Pudding, the Luffy. I feel like there's another one I'm missing, but they're over a couple $100 as well. So yeah, it's a pretty legit set in my opinion. But PRBO one was definitely the standout for sure. Kind of hard to follow that up. I love your videos, brother. I appreciate you being here. I don't know how to say your name. Earl 2032. Appreciate you, man. That means a lot, genuinely. I know I say that like 50 times when I'm doing this live stream, but I do mean it. Like I'm I'm so lucky that what I get to do now is content full time, working with people as well is really taken off this year. So I'm incredibly grateful for everyone who supports the channel and spends a little bit of time watching my content and listening to this bald guy talk about TCGs he knows nothing about. So thank you. If you can get in EBO3 at 140, is that a good deal? Yeah, that I don't think in North America it's going to be that cheap. That's just my gut instinct too. Like I could be entirely wrong. Then maybe all these LGSs get massive amounts of boxes and it comes down. But right now on TCG Player, pre-orders are at 300 Canadian. And again, like TCG Player pre-orders are always going to be high because not everyone can sell their pre-orders on TCG Player. Only select brick and mortar stores, I believe. But if you're buying at 140, that seems like a good price, at least if you're in North America. If you're in Europe or Asia and those are like 4 Asia boxes, maybe that's going to be closer to market. But just from the North American perspective, I do think that's going to be a good entry point. God Valley set will have Rox D Zebek manga. It will be legendary. Again, I haven't gotten that far in the manga or anime, so I don't really know everyone you're talking about. But if that's the case and it's gonna be legendary, I'm excited for it, man. I'm looking forward to having a God Valley set in the future. You're not the first person who's talked about that this live stream. Everyone knows Shanks is Charizard. Yeah, I think it's an argument you can make for sure. I don't think it's a terrible argument being the first manga. I dig it. Pokemon Magic, One Piece, a solid big three. Yep. And look, I think from the collecting side too, One Piece has the potential to be larger than Magic. I really do. So time will tell. 1999 first stage will be highly collectible. It's interesting. We've actually been covering like a few vintage cards in the Saturday updates. They've been showing up, and I I enjoy talking about them when they do show up, the hyper battle stuff, and yeah, it's not my forte, it's not my expertise. I know some people who watch the videos, they really enjoy the vintage and it's low pop stuff. So, yeah, it's interesting to look at and yeah, maybe you can make good money on it. I don't know. If you want to go all in on vintage, do it for sure. Could pay off big. Where was that manga shank sale? I imagine some people are talking about it on eBay. I'll be I'll be looking for it tomorrow, and I'm sure someone will probably send it to me if I can't find it. Over 100 people here on a Friday. I would say this was a very successful first live. Yeah, it look man, like I can't even remember where my camera is half the time, right? I thought there was gonna be 5 people in here, and we were just gonna shoot the shit for like 10 minutes and figure out if the audio was decent. So the fact that there's over 100 people here is amazing. So thank you guys all. Like it's crazy, dude. Like how do I describe this? If you had to get up on stage in front of 100 people, most most people would think that that's probably going to be the largest group they ever talk to in their lives, right? But when it's something online and you just see that number, it's very difficult to appreciate. And it's the same thing with view count, subscriber count. So I've always put it in the perspective that I'm from a town of about, I should say city. It's technically a city, not a town, but there's about 10,000 people in Nelson. And if my channel's closing in on 10,000 subscribers, that would be like every single person in my town being subscribed to my channel, which is just wild to think about, right? So, in comparison to what's going on in the world, sure, it's small, but I know that there's a lot of people here, and it uh it never fails to impress me, the reach of the internet, and I appreciate everyone being here. It is crazy. And hopefully it'll keep going, right? Like I'm gonna do my best to continue just providing the best content possible. And I don't expect people to be loyal and watch videos if they're bad. So I every day I wake up and try my best to provide you guys with something valuable and interesting. Thoughts on Dragon Ball Fusion World manga is a great set. Yeah, I haven't looked super deep into Dragon Ball. Like I've looked at it a little bit just because it's something I've thought about, but I need to do more research. And yeah, that's really all I can say right now. I don't like the fact that the game was split. I think that's a bit weird, like having the Masters and then the Fusion World, in my opinion. But who knows? Maybe in the future it'll be something I end up going in on. We'll see. Words from a wise man: the TCG world. Invest in waifus. You have a better life. Yeah, I mean, if you took that advice over the past few months, you bought the Nami SPs, the Boa SPs, you done incredibly well. So yep, waifus never fail. Azure Lane Volume 2 is coming. If anyone's interested in, what is that, Weiss Schwartz? I'm definitely not going to be buying that just because I haven't done enough research, but I feel like some people did fairly well on Volume 1 when that came out. So interesting. PRBO 2 versus OPO 6 is like choose Sanji manga versus Zoro manga. Yeah, I think they're close. Um, I feel like, and this is probably my bias, I would go with PRBO 2. Now, OPO 6, it's an older set. We're probably not getting more of it. But I think when you compare the mangas, sure, the Zoro is probably a little bit better of a card. But after that top hit, you look at the number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in the set going down. PRBO 1 is deeper, in my opinion. I think if you look at the top 10 value too, it's probably higher. I could be wrong about that, but I think it is. And it's also a premium booster. So assuming we don't get more PRBO2, I think it's going to age fairly well. But time will tell. Time will tell. I've been wrong before. It's definitely going to happen again. Rayleigh manga, sleeping on it. Hey, maybe. Rayleigh's going to go to the moon. Next $2,000 card in a 10, 3K, 4K. Why stop there? 5K, 10K. Yeah, Rayleigh's really cool though. I like when he shows up in the anime. Good character. Kind of unfortunate his card is a little bit cheaper. Silver's Rayleigh and Ace SP will hard carry OPO 8. Ends up 2K a box by 2035. We'll see. It's possible. It's possible for sure. Edgar, thanks for making a live stream. Hey, thank you for being here, man. I know you've been here a while, so if you've watched the entire thing, that's awesome. Almost 3 hours. I said I was gonna cut this like 45 minutes ago. We're still going. It's wild. I appreciate all of you guys being here again. It's never gonna get old of me saying that. PCG, I'm excited to send my cards to get graded by Rudy. Hell yeah. Are you gonna use this code? He's got a lot of them. I think like Rudy's Hairy Leg, some others. So yeah, PCG. That'd be interesting as well. I don't think those cards sell super often on eBay. There's probably not as many of them out there, but if you're holding on to them or whatever, that's awesome. PRBO 1 wasn't even heavily printed. I don't think so, compared to a lot of other sets. One of my goal is to have all sealed OP boxes in an airtight container with bubble wrap sealed like a time capsule, and we'll give it to my great grandchildren. I hope it ages well. That would be amazing. Amazing goals. One, not just because you have that for such a long period of time, but also because you'll have great grandchildren. And anyone who knows me personally, one of my biggest goals in life is to be a dad eventually. So it's I think one of the biggest honors you can have in life is being a parent. Who cares, bro? Make your money. Hey man, we all have to make our money some way, right? So, yep, I agree. Make your bag, no shame, however you do it. Well, there's some shame. There's some shame in some career paths, but yeah, for the most part, just do you. What's the best way to secure pre-orders? Sweeter, thank you for your super chat. For securing pre-orders, like you really have to put in work, especially now. Um, if you want to buy at market price and you're fine paying whatever, there's going to be a lot of stores where you can just go on and buy product. It's not like Pokemon right now where it's very difficult to get things. We're not talking January 2025 trying to get prismatic pre-orders, but um if you want to get a very good deal, that's where you have to put in a little bit more work sometimes. And like last year, pre-ordering in advance was a huge thing, like 3, 6, 9 months in advance. Buy a set for a lot of stores would just default to around 150 Canadian a box. And that was before you knew what was going to be in the set. And you just hoped it ended up being a good set, not a two legends or a royal blood. I think you can still do that. I think there's also other options, like if you order from, let's say, Singapore or some other Asian country, you buy 4 Asia boxes. If you order from Europe, I know there's some stores in Italy and they'll ship to Canada. And you got to remember when you ship to Canada, you'll have to factor in 12% tax or 13% depending on where you live, or 5%, I guess, if you're in Alberta and you can get it for 5. And then outside that, like get them to send it through their national courier, and that'll go through Canada Post. And that way, your brokerage fee will only be $9.95 compared to DHL or FedEx, which could be $100 to $150. So there's tons of different avenues. If you're just trying to buy from Canada, it's going to be a little bit more difficult now. I'd say just follow all the stores and pay attention to them, sign up for the email alerts. But if you're willing to buy from a different continent, there's plays there as well. So hopefully that answers your question. And thanks again for the super chat. That's amazing. And the one thing I gotta get better at too is when I come back to the chat, I always lose the spot I'm at. Let's see. Let's not bring that one up. Is Bandai going to start cutting boxes? I think they've already started doing this in the Bandai stores, cutting the seal off, which I said earlier in the live, I think I'm fine with. I don't mind it at all, especially if they are selling at MSRP, right? So it's a good way to combat scalpers. I did say though, when OPO 5 was restocked at some Bandai stores in the summer and they're going for like 220 USD in that range, you still had people going on eBay, going on TCG Player, and selling those boxes for 220, 240, right? So it's not going to get rid of all scalping, but it's a way for them to fight against it. I think that's fine. I really do think that's fine. Let's see. That came in at 10:55. That's a long time ago. Holy cow. We're like an hour behind in the chat, guys. This is holy cow, 10:55. I should be paying attention to that. The support has just been insane. I'm sure that's why people are so confused as to why there's a delay as well, because I'm reading chats from an hour ago. Um, get water. I should have got water like an hour and a half ago, man. Look, it's empty. It's empty. Nothing left. I'm fucking dying over here. Next stream, I'm gonna have a big bottle, something to refill with. So hey, that's something I learned, right? That's something I learned from this. Hopefully it's not been too terrible to listen to me stuttering over my words as I can barely get enough breath for a sentence. All right, let's see what Jollibee has to say. Fun fact, the God Pack manga from PRBO1 is actually rarer than the OG mangas. Interesting. I believe it. I believe it. That makes sense. Very cool. Unfortunately, they're just not the originals, so even though they're rare, I think people are just going to want the originals more. That's my take. Could be wrong about it, though. If you're able to get EBO3, we already talked about that. Wow, there's lots of reprints in here. In the future, too, I should do the Nostalgianomics thing and what's his name? Eli, where they get people to put question in front of their comment. That would help out a ton. What are your top 3 main sets from One Piece and why? OP13, 09, and 05. Why? Because they're just stacked. I mean, you could change out one of those and put in PRBO 1, 2. I wouldn't be mad, but 05, 09, 013. 013. 13. It's getting late, man. We're already into Saturday, so yeah, those 3 sets, super deep. Tons of value up top. Wow. Let's see. Love from Australia, Mr. Speculator. What are you buying in the recent boom? Appreciate you, potatoes. I remember you had left the comment too, so I imagine that was from that. I was kind of confused why there wasn't a message there. What am I buying in the recent boom? I haven't been buying a ton. So I've been getting a lot of cash ready for potential reprints in 2026, and also not just in One Piece. If Destin Rivals booster boxes get a reprint, I'm going to be jumping on those. I know this is the One Piece channel. People don't like when I talk about Pokemon. The reality is, I'm a TCG investor. So where I see the value in the deals, I'm going to be going. But OP13 reprint, Destin Rivals reprint, I'm going to be jumping on those. If any other sort of value plays open up, I'll grab them. But I think the only thing I've really been buying is a little bit more OP11, just because it's still relatively cheap in Canada. Hobbiesville is at like 300 Canadian, and a couple of their stores are there as well. Brother, you shave hair? Yeah, so I don't use a razor, but I just like put my blade as low as possible, my like beard trim or whatever, and cut it off. It's uh it's really been thinning over the past couple of years and got to the point where like it looks bad, man. So I just cut my hair now. And it is what it is, man. Like some people have a full head of hair, some people don't, and I used to be really self-conscious about it like a couple of years ago, but now it's like it's something that doesn't bother me. I just shave it. And honestly, I like it this way because I don't have to brush my hair in the morning or anything. It's a lot easier to deal with. The beard is bad enough as it is. So much chat, it's crazy. Serial Luffy all day. It's a good card as well. Big fan of Serial Luffy's. Couple of them, I guess. And there's going to be some big serialized Luffy cards or sales in today's video when we do that tonight. There was the I think serialized up to like 40K or best offer. I'm gonna have to 130 point that and see what it sold for, but yeah, there's gonna be some big sales in this video. Very excited. Do you think building a position OP11 is a good idea? Yep. I think I answered that already. Big fan. And then I live by a Bandai store and they haven't had OPO5 in at least 7 months or more. Yeah, so it was back in the summer, like New Jersey store, I believe. Maybe there's another one in the US. They got some more boxes, but I don't think it was everywhere. And yeah, I mean, it makes sense too, right? Like just based on the price, people would be buying that out. And I think even before the boom, it was kind of on its last legs. Mm-hmm. PSA to invest is the way. Is the way or isn't the way? Are we missing an N there or just adding a T? Very confusing, but yeah, I think PSA liquidity, it's there. Grayson, it's a pleasure to meet you. Sam, I appreciate you being here, man. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully we can do more in the future. Good morning from Germany. What's up? What's up? Is it Gunter? Hopefully I'm saying that properly. What part of Germany are you from? I'm always curious. Always curious, always trying to improve my geography as well. Do you think it's worth buying booster box of OP12 at 130? Uh, I mean, I guess it depends on what you define as worth, right? Like if your definition of worth is that you're going to double your money in 3 months, I don't think that's going to happen, but in terms of getting a decent set at a decent price and having it be probably one of the safer short-term options, yeah, I think it's worth it. Tag on the come up. BGS is still the best. I think both of those could be contentious statements. We'll see though. Oh, what's your view on OP13 blisters? I feel like I already took this one, Anthony. Did I? Yeah, if you're buying them at retail, the arbitrage is there right now. Kind of makes sense. But just sleeve boosters in general, I tend to avoid. And a lot of that has to come down to the selling process and also the general trends in terms of ROI. I saw the delay message when I joined like 30 minutes ago. Yeah, I'm just so far behind in chat. I think that's kind of what's going on. So I'm like, it is 12:14 a.m. PST, and I'm reading messages from 11:23. So I feel bad for people who left a message and then dipped out of the stream, but it's been difficult trying to catch up on everything. I don't know how anyone stays up on a chat like this unless you're just scrolling all the way down and missing a ton of messages. But I've been trying to get to every message that hasn't been a duplicate from someone. Hey man, want to say thank you. Awesome informations. Love your videos. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you being here. It means a ton. And I'll continue doing my best to put out good content. What do you think of Riftbound? I've talked about this a couple times already. I think that it could potentially be decent, but it's not something I'm investing into currently. That's the short answer. Long answer is a bit more nuanced, but because we're so far behind, unfortunately, we're gonna have to deal with the short answers right now. What's your favorite OP set? Hmm, it's tough. It's tough. I I really like the SPs in Royal Blood. Just from a card perspective, I love the artworks of those. But I think something like OP09 is really cool. I had a good experience opening that. Didn't pull anything crazy, but that's a it's got a little bit of everything, right? Like you have the Gold Roger, you have a Luffy manga, you have a Shanks manga, you have some waifu cards in there, some wanted posters. There's a little bit of everything in OP9, so one of those sets. And that's not like the cop out answer of just saying OP13 or OP05. So there you go. Should I wait a few months to buy SPs? I would at current prices. I don't feel great, especially if you're buying for investment purposes. I don't think there's much short-term value in SPs. I think delay is 1 minute, but it's the order that you're reading the message. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it back and see what's going on. Like I should leave myself more timestamps. Like I'm saying this at what 12:16 a.m. So when I watch it back, if it lines up with how long this thing has been going, we'll see. We'll see. Lots of things to work on heading into the next live stream. Maybe like 30 to 60 second. Yeah, it might be. I'll check Chat GPT later and see if there's a StreamYard delay that's automatically on it or whatever. And then if there's a way to remove it, which hopefully there is, I'll try and get that sorted for next live stream. Grade at high PSA tiers, what I do. Yeah, that's a way to get it through faster. Not a bad idea. Fire, anime reality. Appreciate you being here, bro. Would you keep her sell PSA 10 red Luffy? I mean, it's tough, man. Like I think the prices they're going for is insane. Like, 15 to 18K for a PSA 10. I'd love to have that amount of cash ready for reprints of certain sets. That's just me. But if things keep going, like who knows, in the future could be a more expensive card. But for me, my bias, what I do, I feel like anyone who asks me about cards, and especially in the current market, if it's a graded card, a single, I'm probably going to say sell. But that's my bias. So just go into asking the question knowing that. What do you think about Japanese SPs and manga? Are they worthy of investment? Yeah, I stick to English. English is the dominant language. Sure, there might get to a point where it's such a multiple English versus Japanese that it might make sense, but I think you're just better off in English generally, right? But there will be opportunities probably in other languages in the future. Let's go. What's up, Jarrett? How you doing, man? I think you're in Alberta, right, Jarrett? If I remember correctly. I feel like you told me that once before. I remember I remember living in Alberta, and this time of year it's not the most enjoyable experience, let's just say that. Edmonton winters, minus 40, getting off the LRT, and you got a minute and a half, 2 minutes to get inside before your nose is running. You can't feel your face. It's oh man. I The only good thing I'll say about living in Edmonton when I was there studying is they had so many good restaurants. Like we'd go to Hogwa, like we go to Hot Pot. There was really good Vietnamese places. There's a donair shop. Can't remember what it was called. Donair King, Queen Donair, something like that. Amazing donairs. So that's all stuff I miss. But outside the food, outside the food, I'm glad, and it was fairly cheap to live there too compared to other parts of Canada. But yeah, it's not the paradise that everyone would want to live in. Let's just leave it at that. Hey brother, I'm a massive OP fan. Haven't bought boxes since OPO3 was the best way to spend 1.5k Canadian right now. Singles or boxes since market is high. Um, there's so many ways you could go about this, honestly. Like, if you had to spend the money, right? Like, gun to your head. If you don't spend it, you're getting clapped out. It's donezo. I'm probably buying like a decent amount of OP12 and then maybe a little bit of 11, maybe one box of 9, but even that would be probably too big of a position. But you could also hold cash. I think holding cash right now is a decent option just based on where the market is, and there might be opportunities in the future. So that's what I'll say. Focus on other chatters. Gamba, I'm trying to. I see all your messages, and I'm trying to give everyone a fair shout for sure. Opinion on EBO3. You made a video a while ago saying a while ago before the huge increase. Yeah, I still think it's going to be overrated, and it's going to be a good set. I just think it's overrated. People think it's going to be an S tier investment, but it doesn't have the best manga. Sure, some of the SPs will be good, but out the gate, it really depends on what we can get the box at, right? Like in Canada, you would know, Jarrett. Like there's almost no one putting out pre-orders right now. It's super difficult to find EBO3, and I think once those pre-orders start flowing in, it's going to be like 300 Canadian plus. That would be my guess. If we can find anything for like sub 200 USD, I'll probably buy a little bit. I said way back I was going to get a case, but if I'm paying 200 USD a box, I don't know if I'm going to end up getting a case. Maybe at that point I'll just get a few booster boxes, but yeah, I think it's worth getting some. I just think it's going to be a little bit overpriced out the gate at least. Hello from France. Love the content on both channels. Keep it up. Chad, appreciate that. I hope it's Chad. And what part of France are you from, by the way, bro? My France geography is not the best, but I know where Paris is and Marseille, and yeah, that's about it. But always trying to expand my knowledge. Let's see. Skip over that. We took that one already. Keep scrolling down. When's the OP13 case giveaway, man? All right, look, guys. I'm going to be serious. Thank you. I'll look into the camera for this one. Thank you so much for the support, generally. I said generally, genuinely. It's crazy that I'm going to be doing this full time in 2026. You guys know I run 2 channels. I actually run a third channel not related to TCGs, but I'm I'm super grateful I get to do this full time. I'm not balling like that though, bro. Okay, at least not yet. So if you guys want an OP13 case giveaway, we got to get to 100k subs and let's say 3 million views in the month of December. Long form views. We'll give away a case of OP13. And the odds of that happening, by the way, are basically 0. So that's me trolling. But no, I hope in the future we can do some giveaways. I In all seriousness, I am torn about doing giveaways just because I gotta be careful with what I say here. There there are some channels that do a lot of giveaways, whether it's in this space, the One Piece investing space, the Pokemon space. Some of them are sponsored, some of them aren't, but it's a way for people to grow their sub counts. And the reality is, as a content creator, Sub count means absolutely nothing anymore. Like if you're over 1,000 subs, over 1,000 subscribers, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just a vanity metric because once you have monetization, the only thing that matters is views. So if you're trying to get people to sub just for a giveaway, just so you can feel better about yourself, a lot of those people don't come back and watch your other videos. And the problem is if your video is showing up in their feed and they're choosing not to click on it and your CTR starts to go down, that can be problematic for your channel. So I try and stay away from it. Like I want people to subscribe and to like the video and to use the affiliate links and to work with me only if they see the value in that and they enjoy the content. Like if you don't enjoy the content, don't watch it, don't subscribe. Like I won't be offended. The reality is that the best creators on YouTube have the biggest channels because they're doing something right. So if you have to entice people to come to your channel, I just think it's kind of like a weak way and it's kind of like the wrong mindset to have. I understand giving back, like that's great too. And the ways that I try and give back in life are like through charity work and just donating anonymously. Like I again, like having to put it out there publicly and do giveaways. Like I get if it's for your community, I understand that, but at the same time, a lot of people do it with not the best intentions. So that's all I want to say there. Hopefully that's understandable too. I don't know. I feel like some of these takes in this live stream, because this is entirely unscripted, I wasn't even planning to go close to an hour. We're 3 hours now. There's going to be some takes that probably get me in a little bit of trouble, but that's fine. That's fine. They also take feedback seriously and ask pertinent information about order size, sales volumes, and I don't know what this is referring to. I'm sure you guys are having a conversation or something. Shit, anti-Canadian, peace out. Like I said, there's gonna be some things I say that get me in hot water. First of all, I'm not anti-Canadian at all. I'm really upset with the direction that Canada's going because whatever side that you're on, whatever politics you believe, I think it's incredibly difficult to look at the past 10 years of our country and point to any metric that is saying that our country's getting better. You look at the cost of living, you look at just home prices in general, you look at our crime rates, you look at our healthcare, just our education system. Like it's very difficult to say that our country's going in the right direction. So it's not me being anti-Canadian. I'm so grateful I was born where I was. Like it that's the other thing too in the West. Like people don't understand, man. Like after traveling, you really do realize if you go somewhere where people are struggling, like people are making like $2 to $3 an hour in Colombia. They're getting up at 5 a.m. They're taking 3 hours of transportation to go to a job where they have no employment rights to make $3 an hour. And then they got to, take 3 hours of transportation home, which, by the way, while they're on transportation, if you're a woman, there's a very high likelihood that you'll eventually encounter someone who tries to do something they shouldn't, or you get robbed, right? If you're not paying attention, if you're giving papaya. So, man, like I'm super grateful I was born in Canada. I'm super grateful for the opportunities this country's given me. And it's just sad to see everything that was everything that was like really important to me as a Canadian and things that a lot of people were proud of when it came to this country just kind of deteriorating over time. It's really sad to see. So, no, definitely not anti-Canadian, but I know a lot of people who spend too much time on the internet and their whole lives are this versus that. They might see it that way. Buy the spreadsheet, so worth it. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Like I'm trying to put so much effort into that too. And like, by the way, Jared, if you're in there and you ever have recommendations, let me know. I'm doing, I think we're up to like maybe 25 updates a month at this point, if not more, for Pokemon and One Piece. So it's hard for me to add more But I would love to eventually get in a couple more One Piece updates, whether it's the Gold Dawn or maybe some like Japanese versus English. We'll see. But yeah, I'm trying to add more. And I think like in the future, once we have 2, 3, 4, 5 years of data, it's gonna be a crazy resource. Mm-hmm. 103 at 11:47 p. Yeah, we're still over 100. Like in my metrics, it's right there. So thank you to everyone who's sticking around and sitting through the rants and stuff. Appreciate it. Otani and Oda referring to the Luffy. Yeah, that would be insane. Ayo, he's live. Yeah, we're live. What's up, Emac? Welcome to the live stream. One of hopefully many. Is OP14 a flop? I don't think it's gonna be a flop. I just think it's well, I mean, I guess it depends how you define flop. I think it's gonna be somewhere middle of the road, if that makes sense. I don't think it's gonna be a top tier set, and it's probably gonna be a little bit too expensive at release. That's my guess. We breaking OP13 case? Man, you send me the case, I'll open it on stream. 100%. That'd be amazing. But I only have 2 cases, so I got to keep them sealed. I guess I don't have to, right? You push anything to the extreme, you don't have to do it, but I want to keep them sealed. 14 looks better with the added EBO4 stuff. Agreed. The Zoro SP, yep. That's probably my favorite of the SPs because there's the Edward Weevil and then what's the other one? Kid? The Kid looks pretty cool, but the Zoro is definitely going to be the most expensive. That would be my guess. Let's see. Oh, damn, the GOAT live. Again, man, I'm not the GOAT, but I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you supporting the live stream. I'm surprised they haven't pumped Gold Dawns yet. Yeah, I mean, it kind of is surprising to me too. Like those haven't moved at all throughout this entire boom cycle, and they're fairly low pop. I do hate the backs. Like, let's be real. If you're gonna do the front gold, just do the back gold, man, and make it look good. Like, I don't know. It looks a little bit cheap in my opinion. And as far as I'm aware, like someone was talking to me about that in the comments and saying they have to do it for the game to have those backs. But if you if you had the back gold or white, everyone would know it's a Dawn card, and it's not like my understanding is that all Dawn cards do the same thing in the game. So it's not like one Dawn has a different purpose than another Dawn. So if they all do the same thing, it's not like you could just put one in your deck and then you'd know which card it was, right? It does the same purpose. So if Bandai really wanted to make those more collectible and step it up, I think they should do like gold backs or change the backs. That's just my opinion. And who knows, maybe that's just me being wrong about the game and not understanding how it works, but that's my limited understanding. Do you think that Dodgers Luffy is a long-term hold? I think it could be for sure. Like when we talk about promo cards, it's an Oda illustration, it's a Luffy, Dodgers promo as well. So like I think there's decent things going for it for sure. Ooh, wow. What's up, Harry? Harry Apple Juice. I just woke up. I'm sure more people are gonna join from Europe now. Yeah, maybe, but it's also getting late here. It's 12, almost 12:30. We've been going, guys, we've been going 3 hours and 13 minutes. And I think I said at like the hour 50 mark, I was gonna cut it off at 2 hours. And I haven't had water, by the way, right? Like this thing, let's see, put this on screen. This thing's been empty for like 2 hours. So I am struggling here, but I'm trying to get through every comment just because I appreciate everyone stopping by for the first live stream. You look like Keemstar. Okay, now I gotta shave the beard, dude. I can't be compared to that guy. I don't know, but yeah, I see it too. I understand where it's coming from for sure. Let's see. Missed this live. What's your opinion on OP7? Nah, it's kind of a mess set. You get a cool manga in there, the Boa. I like the Onami SP. The Usohachi is a pretty cool artwork as well, even though it's not my favorite SP. But yeah, it's just not the deepest set out there. So I don't have a position in OP07. I'm not planning to build one. Let's see. I probably missed a lot of chats too, by the way, guys. And if that's the case and I missed yours, I apologize. This is first time doing it. Are you ever going to crack some packs on stream? Maybe. I just don't think it's like the most interesting thing in the world. I know some people would be interested in that. A lot of people wouldn't be. And maybe. Maybe at some point. We'll leave it at that. Put some mystery out in the world. Serialized OP versus manga, what's a better investment? Who knows? Like if I knew the answer, you know where I'd be putting my money, but I think there's arguments to be made for both. Hi. What's up, man? I don't know how to say your name. Liam, I guess. Liam LeBeau. What's good? Appreciate you stopping by the stream. And apologies if I butcher your name. That's it's gonna take a while for sure to get a lot of the regulars down. Ever thought of making like market watch for like cards that are lower than $100? I Yeah, I mean I've thought about it, but I think doing like the midweek update, 100 to 1,000, that's kind of like it's already getting low enough tier where some people don't even find that interesting. So maybe like once a month I could do a video looking at cards on TCG Player that ungraded are under $100. I could do that. Some of those can do well, some of them don't. So it's something that maybe I'll add in once a month going forward. We'll see. Know any good sellers for One Piece boosters abroad? I do have a connection in Singapore if you're trying to buy for Asia stuff. I think distro is tightening up there though. Like the last time I talked to Ian, the PRBO2 was out, OP11 was out. So he has access to some stuff, but not everything. If you're interested, just shoot me a message on Discord, and I can. If you're a serious buyer too, if you're just looking to buy a couple of boxes, probably not worth me sending you his way. If I'm being honest, just because he's doing pretty heavy volume now. But if you're looking to buy a decent amount of product, definitely let me know. Sheesh, how much your inventory worth? Current position in One Piece and Pokemon's about 252,000 Canadian, I believe. And if you're curious about the entire breakdown, today on the Pokemon channel, we'll be doing episode 2 of Cardboard Kingpin, which is a monthly series on my way to $1 million invested in TCGs. So yeah, if you're curious about everything I own, the prices I paid, what I've been picking up, definitely recommend checking that out. And guys, it's getting late. We're gonna go for like 5 more minutes. If I don't get to your comment, I apologize. But if I try and play catch up, I'll be here all night, I think. Actually, we're getting fairly close. Let's see. Let's see if I can pump through this. Sunny, what's up? Good to see you here. Let's see. Thank you for the live stream. I've been watching your vids daily. Regards from Germany. Appreciate you watching, man. That means a lot. What part of Germany are you from? I think I asked someone else that too, but always curious to know where everyone's watching from around the world. It's amazing. Amazing that people are watching me from different continents. Just it never fails to blow my mind. Now you're dead right about OG mangas, but PRB deserve attention. I agree for sure. Like people should definitely pay attention to them. OP12 or PRBO2. Long term, I think PRBO2 is going to do better. Current market price, maybe OP12. It's close. Love your vids. Watch every day from Australia. Appreciate you watching from down under. What part of Australia are you from? Good night from Chile. Okay, awesome. We got a couple Latinos in the crowd. I appreciate you, man. I'm guessing you're from Santiago de Chile. Maybe not. Maybe that's just me being stupid because that's the only large city I know in Chile. But yeah, hopefully one day I can get there. And seems like there's some pretty beautiful parts to your country. You see the new illustration boxes, the ones with the Ace and what is it, Ace Sabo promos, and then Corazon and Law, the Law promos, I believe. Yeah, I looked at those. They're not going to be something I pick up, but they could do well. We'll see. Going to Collecticon tomorrow. What would you comp OPO1 Shanks in 2025 top 16 Zoro Treasure Cup at? Not sure. I mean, someone was talking about the Shanks PSA 10 at 15K. So who knows if that's actually a real sale? Maybe someone bought that knowing that they're not going to pay just so there is that massive sale so they can go to Collecticon and sell their items. Maybe it was you. Maybe it was you. Did you do that? But yeah, no, just use go to eBay, look at latest solds, take an average of the past 3 or factor in the most recent sale if it's continuing to move up, and that's how I price everything. You're killing it, dude, especially for the first live. Thank you, man. I mean, I'm trying, but I'm getting close to my end. I'm running out of gas. Running out of gas for sure. And I think some people watching are getting there too. I'm starting to stutter over my words, and people are going, "Okay, this guy's starting to talk about Canadian politics instead of TCGs." Like, I'm out of here. So no, I get it. But I think it's been a great first live. I've been listening from Australia, mate. Love your content. Appreciate Al. Appreciate you being here. That means a lot. What part of Australia as well? I'm curious. Sydney, Canberra, other parts. I don't really know other cities in Australia, but I'm sure there's a few of them. Let's see. Yo, brother, here from the UK. Hope you good. What would you buy with $2,000? Appreciate you watching Wins from the UK. 2K, like again, gun to my head. If I had to spend the money, I'd probably be spending a decent amount of it on like OP12, maybe a little bit of OP11 right now. But I would also consider holding on to some cash because I think there'll be. You could even throw in, like I said, you could buy a little bit of OP13 and be ready to DCA if there's a reprint, just so you have some exposure if you don't already. And then PRBO2 as well, I think is like not terrible, but with only 2K, the sets like PRBO1, OPO9, O5, those are probably getting a little bit out of your price range at this point. Just to have a balanced portfolio. That's my opinion. Let's see. Philippine salary is $10 a day. Yeah, man. Like, it's funny. It's funny too because Canada, I'm sure a lot of people know this, but our immigration's out of control. Like, they've been bringing in millions of people, and a lot of people are coming from the Philippines. And I have to say, like, out of any group coming to Canada, they're probably the ones that integrate the best and work the hardest. Like, Filipinos, just it's insane the work ethic, man. My uncle and my aunt when she was alive, they own a blueberry farm on Vancouver Island, and they've been bringing over Filipinos for like 20 years at this point to work as like temporary workers during the summer season. And dude, the work ethic is just crazy. Super good people. Like I've never met a Filipino person that I didn't like. So yeah, super hardworking people, man. Genuinely. And $10 a day, like I get why people want to leave too. I totally understand it. Like, man, if you could make $10 a day versus $20 an hour, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? So yeah, for sure. Awesome people. What do you think about EBO3? I think it's overrated. I think it's a good set. I just think that people are hyping it up too much, and as a consequence, it's going to be fairly expensive at release. That is my opinion. I'm saving for 2 cases of EBO3. Yeah, not a terrible play, I don't think. Extra booster, waifu set. It's got the makings of being decent. What do you think of Base Shop Limited Edition Volume 1? I actually don't know what you're referring to. If that's like a new product or something. I don't really keep up with ancillary products and a lot of that stuff going on. I just look at the booster boxes, cards inside of them. So yeah, sorry I can't answer that any better, unfortunately. Maybe it's something I got to look at. We do have another super chat here we got to take from Osman. What is your verdict on the upcoming OP14 boxes? First of all, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. OP14, I think is probably a pretty mid-tier set, I would imagine. It might even be towards the bottom half of sets that Bandai has released. That is just my gut feeling based on the cards. Um, do we know the breakdown yet of like what SPs from EBO4 are going to be in OP14? I'm assuming it's not getting the manga card, the EBO4 one, if there is going to be one. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to be that great of a set. And the problem with these newer sets coming out like OP14, EBO3, OP15, maybe even 16, 17 too, because we're in a hype cycle, things are probably a little bit more expensive. than I feel comfortable picking them up at release. So if you're buying the box for like $100 US, it's probably a decent pickup. But if you're going to be paying 140, 150 per box, USD, by the way, uh, I I imagine this is Australian, but yeah, in terms of USD, I guess it depends on your local market too, what's available to you. But I think just in terms of like the North American sphere, if you were buying it around 100, fine. If you're buying it at 150, I'd feel a little bit less great about it. Hopefully that makes sense. You watching the anime in the sub or dub? I'm an adamant dub watcher, but I'm rewatching the sub to learn Japanese. Awesome. I mean, Japanese, a lot of these Asian languages are very difficult to learn. I watch the dub because when I am, doing some exercise and stuff, I'm not always in front of the screen watching when everything's going on. I've I've been in front of the screen for the most part now because Wano is just like it's very difficult for me to keep my eyes focused on something else when that's going on. Like it's been really entertaining, but yeah, the first like 400 episodes, there were times where I'd go probably like 10 episodes just walking the halls listening to it. And I feel like you don't really miss too much, but that's what I'm doing. But now I am trying to watch everything. So the dub. I mean, the Japanese, I'm sure it's cool, but that's just me. My gringo attitude, right? It's got to be in English. English or it's no good. All right, guys, I'm going to do a hard cutoff. We're going to go 3 minutes and 40 seconds more. If I don't get to your comment, I feel sorry because, I want to get to everyone's comment, but the reality is we're just going on way too long. So hopefully the next live Keemstar comment was diabolical. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Unfortunately, I ripped both my blue bottoms, but I did pull a pre-auto Luffy leader. Awesome pull. But again, probably wish that you had those sealed at this point. Hello from Singapore. Awesome, man. Appreciate you tuning in from Singapore. What's up, Grayson? What's up, Halvard? Appreciate you being here. Let's see if I can pump through this. Pokemon Invest Bros looking at mangas. No comment. No comment. Should I hold my sealed OP06 booster or dump? I'd be holding them for sure. Hey mate, appreciate the info and videos. Was your verdict on OP14? Yeah, we covered your chat. I appreciate that, Osman, by the way. Hopefully that was a good enough answer too. I tried to go in depth as possible. DCA meaning dollar cost average. So if you buy a case for $1,000 and then it reprints and it's down to 500, you buy another case, your average is now $750 for a case, right? So that's kind of the idea. You buy more as time goes on. And yeah, that's how you build large positions. How confident are you that OPO5 won't be reprinted? I think the possibility of an OPO5 reprint is incredibly low. I would say less than 5%. Let's say if I had to put a number on it. Hell yeah, Filipinos. Yeah, man, I have nothing bad to say about any Filipino I've ever met. What's your thoughts on Gum Gum Giant? Just grabbed a Tag 10 gem in for 1300. I like the card. It's a cool artwork. At current prices, though, I don't think I'd be buying it as an investment. That's just me. But definitely a cool artwork. What do you think of the treasure booster collection from last year? Yeah, I would rather invest in booster boxes. I don't like the idea of buying products where it's kind of like a hodgepodge of potential sets inside. I would rather just buy the top set. That's me. Let's see. Is there anything else here? Do you think Bandai will get it right long term this time? I hope so. I hope they've learned from their mistakes. I've said multiple times, like they should know by now they're sitting on a gold mine, and if anyone in charge has an IQ more than 50, they're gonna turn this into something big. So if they fail, like it's just embarrassing at this point if that happens. Do you consider the first a Luffy serial card the equivalent of a Pikachu illustrator card? I don't really try and make comparisons between Pokemon cards and One Piece cards in that sense. Like, yeah, I can kind of understand where people are coming from, but it's the first Pokemon card, the first One Piece card, they're different things in that sense. And I don't really think there's like a ton of value here looking at it this way either. Like if just look at the cards in One Piece that are rare that came out at the time of release and just invest in those. Like don't try and make the comparison. That's just my opinion. Um hey, it's Pokepod. I apologize if I say your name wrong. Is it Cade? I hope it's Cade, right? Because AID is Aid. You put a K in front of it. If it's Kide or something, I'm gonna feel terrible. Hey, it's Cade from the Pokepod. Been a fan of the channel for a while. Are you interested in coming on the pod to discuss Pokemon and One Piece? Yeah, potentially in the future, right? Like best way is just shoot me a message and we can try and talk something out for sure. Hit me up on Discord or email or something. I'm just getting into doing live streams, so I've had a couple people reach out already, and I hopefully can do them in the future. Hopefully. And last question here. What is turn free shipping? I think it's getting too late. I think it's time to go to bed because I don't really know what's going on here. Maybe I'm just way too tired. What is turn free shipping? Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on there. But I appreciate all you guys being here. That is, I think, caught up on chat, which is amazing. And yeah, I appreciate you all being here. This is the first stream. If you have any final recommendations to make it better next time around, definitely feel free to let me know right now. I'll read all the feedback. It seems like tweaking audio slightly, getting rid of a potential delay if there is one. I'll chat GPT that, making sure I have enough water. And if there's anything else you guys can think of, definitely let me know. Thank you all for being here so much on your Friday night, Saturday morning. Have a great weekend. Stay safe wherever you guys are in the world. I'll catch you in the next one.